What a weekend we have in store for you here at the Racing Post, and welcome to the live show every Saturday 1:30 with myself, Dave Orton. Racing Post live at our sponsors Betfair. The Betfair Exchange will be giving you some sportsbook action as well. So much top class flat racing coming your way. Yes, there's a whiff of jumpers in the air. Yes, the weather is getting moodier, but the sun shines here in the studio. This is the place to be. Your interactive betting advice, of course, real-time analysis and reaction, and we'll be showcasing the functionality of that exchange for you. That's where the value lies, guys. Right, we'll be keeping one eye on Paris Longchamp. Of course, it is Arc weekend. A hurricane will be blowing in there one way or another. Some people even said, shrewd judges as well, will it be on? Well, it's not too bad, the ground out there, I can tell you that much. But on this show this afternoon, we'll be covering 8 live races. Ascot, Newmarket will even pop up to Redcar as well, where the sun is indeed shining. Good ground up there as well for the 2-year-old race around about 3:40. Right, who joins? The fun machine that is Nat Green is here. Wearing green as well, quite topical. How are we?
I'm great. I know, I didn't think about that, the fun machine. God, I like it. Well, I was meant to bring eggs in today. Not actual full eggs. I was going to blow them so they were hollows because I've not had a good run the last 2 times. But today it all changes.
You are on a barren spell.
And then I was going to smash them.
Oh, I like it. What happened?
I couldn't find that pin thing to blow the eggs. You
were going to say bothered then, weren't you? No, yeah, absolutely. We need to speak to the expenses team about this because if it goes on next time, there will be a couple of duck eggs hanging off you. Yeah, all right, okay. So we're hoping for a winner or two today, but
yeah, look, 8 races to get stuck into, and I'm definitely going to have a few winners.
Yeah, great to have Nat back on the panel, isn't it? As it is, the betting editor himself, Quizmaster Melrose, comes back on as Graham Rodway, your esteemed assistant, calls you Melrose these days.
Does he really?
People think there is a Melrose working for the Post, like Melrose. But here you are, Keith. It's great to have you back. You're busy this week, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd love to be busy in Arc Week. It's the best race in the world when they don't jump anything. So I'm absolutely chuffed to be here. Obviously, I feel a bit sorry for Sun Chariot Day, don't you? That it gets a bit, people, well, it's Arc weekend, but you've got a Group 1 race at Newmarket, lads, and it's, it's, yes, we're all got a wee half eye on tomorrow as well, but today we've got so many races on the telly, and it's still competitive handicap, still big fields. We were commenting yesterday when I was previewing all this stuff that there's hardly any short price favourites in these races. They're all really, really competitive races.
Nice. And can we tease? Obviously, viewers out there, this is an interactive show. You know that by now. Our regular viewers, get involved. You're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook Live, you can do the chat there as well. It goes into the gallery. We've got a top team out there for you today. They'll filter it through here. Get your selections in, questions in for Nat. And of course, Keith, the betting editor, he'll be giving us all his pearls. Is there a nap today before we go to our Betfair rep?
A nap, something that's not on the telly. But Hurricane Ivor was the one I fancied of all the telly races the most. I just thought that everything's right for that horse today.
In the Rouse Stakes, not the Bengogh or whatever.
Not the Bengogh, no, you wouldn't.
Is that a good pronunciation?
Your pronunciations get me every time.
That was one of the better ones in it, actually.
Is it It's Rouse? I thought it was Roos.
I think it's Roos.
Is it?
I think it's Roos.
It's named after the Admiral, isn't it? It's named after the old handicapper.
This is why you're the quizmaster.
I think it is Roos.
Well, the reason I know that is because, and this is all nod off for a second, but I was writing about Wait for Age during the week, and he came up with Wait for Age, Admiral Roos.
Is that right?
He came up with Wait for Age.
It's the Roos Stakes. Two long established sprints. One listed the Roos. I'm going to call it the Roos from now.
Yeah, I think it is Roos. I think I've had this problem before.
Nat is aristocracy, so she'll know.
I've never had a problem with it until now, but okay, it's Roos it is. And then, of course, at 3:15, we've got the Bengogh Stakes.
I'd say Bengoff's fine.
Bengoff's fine, all right, great stuff. So we've got some fun characters coming out.
You shouldn't say go.
Bengo.
Bengo. We've got the Bengo.
There's a bit of a northern tilt here. We'll get into that later on. These two have worked together before. The first time they've worked here on this show this afternoon. We're going to have a lot of fun. Who joins us from Betfair? Well, the big hitter, Barry. He's out and about there somewhere. So joining us back, he is near their offices in Hammersmith as well, I believe. It's Marc Hryhorskyj.
Yeah, I'm in Hammersmith just now, quite close to Heathrow, the drone man. But yeah, great to be back, Dave. Barry clipped my wings for a bit, kept me in the hangar for a few months. I think he's trying to keep me fresh for the jump season, which is nearly upon us. But competitive cards covering today, Ascot, Newmarket and Redcar. Confident I can make some profit for the Chariot Choice, Coast to Curragh, while showcasing the Betfair Exchange capabilities. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, each month we do a new charity. So Mark, if you're new to the show, will be trading. That's using the Exchange or the Sportsbook, which is their more traditional bookmaker side of things. If you want to know anything about the Exchange, get your questions in. Mark is the man. And Keith will be pressing the buttons for Mark today as he goes along, but Mark will be giving a trade in every single race. So you don't have to play in every single race. Let's face it, guys, there's more racing you can shake a stick at this weekend. Please do gamble responsibly. If you just want to have some fun, we see you on the chat bars out there, on the YouTube chat, on the Facebook live chats. A lot of banter going on between you. I'll keep an eye on that today, don't you worry. Great to have you with us. And there, as if by magic, come up the graphics for the very first race. We do kick off in the 1:45 at Newmarket. You mentioned the charity. We're obviously the first show in October this Saturday, Mark. The Coast to Curragh, which is, of course, a charity cycle ride from Laytown, I think, isn't it, to the Curragh. Of course, hoping to raise money for cancer trials in Ireland, of course, in memory of Pat Smullen, the great late Pat Smullen, and Olive Lynch as well. So that feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Confident. Fingers crossed that I can make some profit for today. Obviously, donate to a great cause.
Yeah, all right. So, and if you're having a great, start to the month or whatever, if you have a great date, you can find the links out there for that as well. Our own Gavin Lynchy, of course, who we do so much work with here at the Post. He's got a lot to do with that. All right, that's that basically. What's going to win the first race? Doesn't Mark look like a drone pilot? Did you hear him reference drone pilot?
I think it's the headphones.
He looks like
as well.
you see these drones, don't you, for the in-running players, which you should know. Your husband likes a little dabble in running, doesn't he, every now and then? Dom, of course.
Only every now and then.
Only every 5 minutes. And of course, Mark is probably flying these drones. He's got that sort of look about him. Have you seen Envoy Allen on the back?
I noticed that before, actually. I did. I want you in like a shearling sheepskin flying jacket next time. So
don't encourage the man.
Really cool.
Biggles like. Absolutely. Yeah. Envoy Allen. We're soon going to be talking about that chap again, Mark, aren't we?
Yeah, I actually laid him at Cheltenham, when that big accumulator came through. I laid that one, so I done okay in the end. It's good for the business, but certainly I won't be flying any drones this afternoon. And obviously, I don't think I'll be allowed to be doing that. Obviously, being an employee of Betfair, unfortunately.
Well, there we are. All right. So, shall we get the first charity trade out the way, Mark? Wide open. I mean, we're talking about what 13 to 2 to fill. If you're not sure about the digital odds and the decimal prices, you can see there 7.2. I can see. Oh, blimey. Okay. Accalois?
I'd have gone with Accalois, yeah.
Accalois?
Yeah.
That's a tough name, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think
Right,
it's
well, while you try and trump us with that one,
to remember
unsuccessfully, Mark, that is a 6-1 shot pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah, this looks wide open. Swin's been quite popular in the Sportsbook. That's 10-1 and 11-2 just before we came live here. It's been quite weak on the Exchange, 7.6 at the moment. But I'm quite sweet on William Haggis's Evident Beauty here. In the first race we're looking at, it's got fairly useful form in 3 runs. Novice company, treaty short in the BSP. In the last 3 runs, most notably when odds on and running 1.7 around the 4 to 6 mark last time out of Haydock. Just bumped into Ed Walker's True Scarlet there. That was her first run in handicap company, and she was still a bit keen for me and green under pressure. I think she'll improve for that. Up £2 for that run at Haydock, but can be competitive with 86 here. Betfair ambassador Ryan Moore takes the ride. The Haggis yard's absolutely flying at the moment, 25% strike rate, 12 from 49. So what we're going to do for the first race, Keith, if you want to put this in for me, we're going to do a back to lay here, right? So I'll have a £50 bet on at 8.4.
That is on.
Cool. And then we'll lay this one off around 2 to 1. We'll do £125 stake around 2 to 1. So the goal is here obviously to showcase the Betfair Exchange capabilities and get a green book. So we'll get roughly back.
Exactly 2 to 1 or?
Yeah, go for 3.1 just so we can get on.
Because it does tend to be there tends to be a lot of in-running volume, doesn't there, around the sort of round numbers. So avoiding the round numbers with these is something I tend to do when I do these myself.
Yeah, so hopefully we can sneak that 2 to 1, have a green book. That's what we're looking for.
And then we go in play. We want to keep that, so I'll update a bit accordingly. And there we are. It's there. It's queued up.
So get involved. Get involved if you want to play along. It's Evident Beauty and Ryan Moore, William Haggis, a strong team. And when isn't the Haggis team in form? But they are, according to Mark, going extremely well at the moment. Stalls, where are the stalls today? Are they far side? They are far side.
Yeah, the far side. They've changed it this for today or for this meeting. Yeah, they switch up because at Newmarket this time of year, they want to come near side an awful lot of the time. And I think they put them far side sometimes just to try and dissuade the jockeys from doing that.
I can't be the only one that's noticed that recently, that where traditional stalls are supposed to be since they've gone back from the July course onto the Rolly course, the Guineas course, of course. I'm sure that some of them have gone far side, but they're usually supposed to be stand side.
Yeah,
Down the centre and stuff, and they still end up on the stand side, don't they?
They do. There's a rail bias at Newmarket, basically, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's just a case of what rail you happen to be nearest. And we're talking about the big sales race that's coming later. I discussed it yesterday and said, look, these are 2-year-olds. It's not like a sprint handicap where you can tell that's a front runner or that's not X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
These are 2-year-olds. You don't know these things. You just have to take a bit of a punt on it. But what you get on these races, these big field races at Newmarket at the moment, you will get a stand side group almost irrespective, as long as there's a big enough field and 20, 30 runners, that'll be fine. Or you probably actually will get a far side group, but it's not guaranteed. I've watched every renewal they've had of this sales race, and there has always been a near side group. There hasn't always been a far side group. So your percentage call is that near side, unless what we see tells us differently. I mean, the first race was a maiden at Newmarket that I watched.
Tell us what won that.
Something about 1,000 in running.
Is that right, Mark? We've already had a buster of we in the first race.
Yeah, I'll need to load that one up for you. Are you referring to Ascot here, yeah?
No,
I'll need to load up a
Newmarket.
time.
Newmarket.
I was told off air that we had a 1,000 winner in the...
Ross Briley is buzzing around the studios in the offices, isn't he? And he said it's a Betfair show. You've got to tell them there was a 1,000 to 1 winner.
Yeah.
Is that
Anyway,
right, Mark?
Akeloise is the name.
Come on.
Akeloise.
Is that what you were doing, listening to the commentary?
That's
What
all
you
I was-
couldn't see on the cameras there was Nat
I was going.
I thought one of them, she was taking a call to say, you're not supposed to know I'm an in-running punter, said the husband. OK, let's get a social up. Who's going to open the show? Manny Draycott comes on and says, good afternoon, everyone. I'm on swoon in this. Right, back to business. I'm on swoon as well, Mally. The hat-trick seeking Qatar, Oisin Murphy and Sir Michael Stout, 3-year-old, off a mark of 86. There's more to come, isn't there? Drawn in 4, so towards that far side, 2 away from Evident Beauty. It's swoon for me. There's definitely more to come. This is a Sir Michael Stout project that will hopefully be running in pattern races later on. This is the one race I must admit I did have a little look at and thought it's a headache, this. And I kept looking back. Looked back last time on turf, thought she'll do for me.
There's a bit of that in this race, isn't it? It's such a hard race. Even the big, you look at the sales race and think that's the hard one with 30 runners. But to be honest, these races like that, there's probably, you can turf out half the field, half of them just aren't good enough. They're chancing their arm at a big prize. This is dead competitive. You could pick any one of a dozen in this, and you're on a progressive 3-year-old that's got a chance.
Yeah, I don't know whether she has to lead. She's, of course, taking that extra furlong. She's only run a 1-1. This is a mile 2, as you can see up there on the screen. I think she'll see it out fine. Will Oisin take the bull by the horns? Interesting. That pronunciation is still baffling me. And can you say it again?
No.
I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, no.
You've forgotten it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've forgotten already. Akeloise.
Akeloise.
No.
Akeloise sounds right.
Akeloise.
Akeloise.
Will be because it's Greek. It's not French.
Yeah,
I thought it was French.
it is. It's the Greek
Akeloise.
mythology. Akeloise. Louise.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense.
Does anyone like the fav?
Trust me on this. Just trust me. Akeloise.
Joint favs now with Everton Beauty, I should say.
Yeah, no, I do. I am a bit disappointed with the price now. Where's Ensemble gone? Oh,
It's a big price.
It's almost massive price. Oh,
Okay.
that's not winning at that price. It's going to come up in a minute. Keith's tip.
Am I? What are you on that?
Ensemble, yeah.
Me too. I didn't know.
The way it's drifted now, I might be
You
jumping
are an
off.
ensemble.
We went. No, we are. But I thought just improved every single time in the 4 races. Last 2 starts in the weather. I thought she was going to run an absolute cracker in this, and I am absolutely gobsmacked now. That price has put me off. It has to put me off. I have also got a big dot, Dave, just to clarify here, on Evident Beauty, so I can really see where Mark's going with this.
Should we just concentrate on this? I mean, you've gone 2 weeks barren, right? We said we had the duck.
Barren.
This is the drift. This is why the drift's
This
happening.
is what they've heard that Nat has tipped.
Baby,
That's exactly what's
this is
happening.
They cannot get enough on the other side. But you've even swapped your notebook. You reverted, haven't you?
I've
It's
gone
like you've
to
gone for War and Peace
the
again.
big. Hold on, let me. I've gone for the big notebook.
I mean,
Bigger.
that is massive.
It's bigger.
It makes Andrew Mount's Death Star machine look really quite tiny, doesn't it? But OK, fair enough. So you're changing things up. Are you superstitious? That's one
No.
thing. Is anyone out there superstitious? Let's hear your superstitions today. Let's hear what wins the Arc. Let's hear your naps. Let's have it all. We'll get the chat going. Are you superstitious in any way? You do. I mean, if you've got to be very careful here, Quizmaster, because you are the betting editor of Racing Post. If I say things to you like, you can say on this show, 3 favourites of 1, the next one will get beaten. He'll be like, that's rubbish, man. All these sort of things, but coincidences.
I'm one of these sort of insufferable rationalists, unfortunately.
So you can't be.
I think the thing is, I don't have any conscious ones, but I bet I've got unconscious ones.
Yes.
3 grids. By the way, can you just... Natalie's tip's been on there for a very long time. Ensemble.
Should we just switch it to St Keith at the top? Is that what you want?
Keith,
Yeah,
please.
Okay, you're going to take the blame for this one, I think. Keith's actually very cleverly switched it over.
I know.
Right, well, listen, 2 ticks for Ensemble, a massive price in the first as they go down.
Her form
to the start.
is really good. The form of her run last time behind Mrs. Fitzherbert, who's gone on since she won off a revised mark by nearly 5 lengths the next time. In sort of a normal 0 to 80, but she was obviously expected to win that day, Ensemble, but the horse that beat her has improved since. The horse that finished third, then finished second on her next run, and to a horse that has run well in a listed race since, I believe. So the form's absolutely great. She's a massive horse. Didn't get necessarily the best Lingfield ride last time when she finished second either. On form, there was an awful lot to like. This drift says to me that maybe
Roger Varen's horses very rarely take a big walk in the market unless...
Well, yeah, this suggests to me that they don't fancy the soft ground. And that they've just gone, right, well, she doesn't win today or whatever.
She was a beaten. They backed her last time, didn't they, Ensemble? Albeit not in this sort of company.
No, and it was on the all-weather. They know what every horse does on poly-track because they train them on poly-track.
This is a big weekend for Clipper Logistics, of course. They've got horses running over in France, haven't they? Of course, they've got Fresh in the big sprint.
Got one coming up. I think I might have put
Eagles
up
by
in
Day.
The Redcar race that we've got later on. The telly, they've got one.
Well, from his last 7 runners, Roger, but I don't think we should ever really take too much into that. It's a bit like the Haggish Yard, often in just tip-top form, aren't they?
Yeah, I wouldn't. This has got the hallmarks of a real varying horse. A very big strapping sort that will keep improving next year when she's 4 as well.
Not the worst horse by any means in an open race to have on your side, then.
I mean, if it wasn't for the drift, I'd be quite keen.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked.
It's amazing how this show can knock confidence, by the way. It really, really...
No, I'm just shocked by that. I thought I was onto something good there, but like I said, I've got my dot next to Evident Beauty because the 1 mile 2 trip...
We should reveal to the viewers out there and to Mark as well that when we ask for an email of selections, don't we? I mean, it should really be, as soon as
I
you
don't
can
ever
possibly
read
do it.
everyone's...
You have to be prompted these days. You're becoming such an old pro on this show. But you... Nat, can we have the selections, please? And so that we can get it into the graphics. And you have put up nearly 2 in every single race.
Yeah, I've put up 2.
Well, that's all right, isn't it, Keith? Most serious players on the exchange will back more than 1 horse, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've some of my sort of the pro punters that I know they'll be backing 4 in a race because they'll go, well, X, Y, Z, and A they're the ones that can win, so I'll back them all. And Dutch and horses it's not a sort of, some people might get the idea that it's a bit of a mugsy, but it really isn't if you know what you're doing. You have to be careful because the stakes get high very quickly, but if you know what you're doing, betting more than 1 in a race is absolutely legit. In fact, it's an underused tactic.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And for me, it's not necessarily more of a safety net, but it just gives me the option. Like I always say to you, Dave, every time I'm on here, I like to see them. I'm like obsessed with actually seeing the horses. That's just my thing. Yeah. So when I'm not on course, I'm desperately trying to look at the camera.
Well, you are the horse person on the panel,
I'm the horse whisperer.
Yeah,
I am the horse whisperer.
Does it work? I've often thought that's...
What did they tell you? I can't imagine horses have much interesting to see.
They're very clever, but then also
they remind me of magicians' horse whisperers, right? There's got to be a trick somewhere that we're not seeing.
Horses can be quite simple. Like my horse yesterday on a hack didn't spook at all. Had a tractor, a blowing leaf. He was absolutely terrified and went to spin round. But you just
don't know.
I think just be calm. Really? Just be calm with horses. That's my best bit of advice.
That's why I should never be around them. They terrify me.
It's interesting to say they're clever because a lot of my assumptions with horses is that they're stupid.
Daft, but they're not. They're not.
Okay.
Haven't they got something like the smallest brain relative to their body size of any animal?
True, but they have got a limbic brain, so they are relatively emotional. So they do feel
you think
emotion.
you get it? You think you just get form analysis on this
You
program?
get all sorts.
We're evolving very much so. Talking about evolving, Mark. Let's talk about the market. Who are they queuing up for, Mr. Hryhorskyj?
Yeah, there's a couple of late moves here. Jamie Spencer via Cincinnati. I mean, that was 25 on a 15.5, around 14 to 1. But the big market move is State Occasion for Ralph Beckett's. That was double figure prices just when we went on live. It's currently trading 5.8 at the moment, around 5 to 1, 9 to 2. I mean, there's nearly 400,000 in the market, so there's a lot of money for that one. Okay. Evident Beauty hasn't moved. It's came in. Swoon's weak. And obviously Assembly, I'll sort of... That's weak as well. I mean, that's trading around 20s, 18.5. Just going on to that run last time at Lingfield as well. It's went off 11 to 4 and it's hit 1 to 3 in running. So, as you say, I agree with you. I think today might not be the day there, but I'm hoping for a big run from Evident Beauty here.
Thank you, Mark. All right, then, that's the final market update. They're 3 minutes late, which doesn't help us on this show. We've got 8 races because we'd like to talk to you in between the races and get some reaction and analysis. We've got a stellar panel for you, for goodness sake. Come on, Newmarket, what's the
How are you
problem?
going to call this race? The camera's all
A
over.
lot of issues about race times, by the way, Keith. Look, very topical. Let's not go into it now, but in between races, it's been really annoying people. They are finally off. 1:49, it's the 1:45 at Newmarket, the first race. They took their time, these jockeys getting down, didn't they? Yes, I know it's a long way to the start, but that was ridiculous. And we've got a married man's gallop, as they might call it. Why? After you, after you, after you. Evident Beauty. They're not wanting that rail, Keith.
No, they're off. I was going to say that's the one thing I've noticed. They're off that rail. It doesn't bode well if you're on a low-drawn horse in that big sales race coming up because they do seem to be spurning the far rail.
OK, all right. So Sun Chariot Day at Newmarket. There is a Group 1, believe it or not, also in Britain. The fillies time, 2:55, but it's at the moment the fillies handicaps. Could any of these be going up to that sort of class next time? Who's catching your eye? I'll tell you what, this
I can
Evident
see
Beauty.
State Occasion.
She's a looker, isn't she?
Is running well as well. You know, the big market mover,
Yeah.
State Occasion. That's a nice posse to be in now.
Whenever you
isn't
see
it?
a Beckett filly getting back late, Keith, it can be ominous.
Yeah, and you know the horse that's backed late like that's probably going to get in a good position. They're probably going to sit in the van, aren't they? Because, you know, they're never going to sit at the back with a horse that they've laced into. That doesn't tend to happen very often because...
Evident Beauty looks nice as well. Nice.
They're on the wing. Evident Beauty's on the wing. Ensemble's on the wing.
And Jamie Spencer horse is catching my eye as well. Although, is that always the case in a slowly run race? When Jamie's on one out the back, he just doesn't move, does he? Silky hands.
He's right. A lot of the horses we're looking out for are on the wings, whereas Spencer is behind the main body of the field. You have to switch round at some point, you would imagine, or dart up that rail.
Who's going low? Swoon's going well at the moment. We'll find out. Akeloa, or whatever on earth it's called, the Thurlow horse. Jess Stafford's horse is going well. Princess Nadia just about still got it. State of Occasion, you got the feeling it's a case of press the button. Look at Jamie Spencer on this Joseph Chute horse. This is ridiculous. What's that called again? Via Sistina. Watch that go really low. He's really taking the mickey. What will she have once the button is pressed?
Rebecca's
Swoon, one paced. This is the big ones in the market then. Swoon's there. Look at Spencer. Once again, what's he got here? They'll be called some names if he doesn't get this one in front. It's the big 4 in the market going up. The favourite's got every chance. State of Occasion backs out of it. Swoon one pace. Spencer's got it right. This is something what we call a Spencer masterclass. I said it in the run. You could see it. Sometimes they don't deliver. This time, right on that far rail, got it right. Marc Hryhorskyj, let's come to you. Story of the race. When did they know?
Yeah, I think they knew at the 2 furlong pole, especially when Spencer's sitting like that. It's very ominous, isn't it? Never in doubt. It's won very, very easily. And they certainly knew on the exchange. I mean, this one's been smashed from about 22s, 23s into 14-1 late on. So definitely a gamble landed there for Jamie Spencer and Joseph Chute there.
Yeah, fair play, Mark. You did flag that up. What do we do with this race?
You say a Spencer masterclass. I was looking, sitting there tanking.
I knew you were going to take umbrage with that.
And he pressed the button. Well, I was with you until he pressed the button, and I looked up, and the next second the 1 pole appears. That's about a furlong too early for Spencer to go.
She was green, wasn't she?
He got her there. I think if he was given the race to ride again, he'd get her there even later.
Yeah,
Because that, I don't think he could stop her getting to the front.
And again, do you think the money was down on that? This was good. He was told probably, wasn't he? Look, we do fancy this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a proper gamble. I'm just sad none of us mentioned it, but that means that's a hell of a prize, isn't it, to go? But easily won the novice at Goodwood, and again, we maybe missed a trick that was on soft ground, wasn't it? And I agree with Keith. Produced even later a typical.
Well, that's right. He got there earlier than I thought he would. I don't think he could have held her. I mean, the thing is, this horse has basically had 2 runs, hasn't she? Because she run at Thursker her debut, won at Goodwood very easily, and then went to France and ran in a group race.
Yes, behind Baby Loan. Babylon, who runs in the opera
last.
tomorrow.
We're not calling that a run, are we? Because she's just bombed. So you've got a horse that's really, really unexposed because she's had 2 runs, and one of them she won by half the track, and you can't tell what it was worth.
Yeah.
So Joe Chute's got a really nice filly going forward.
She's won that off 89 as she liked. You've got to imagine she's black type class.
Does Spencer make these horses look a bit better than they are? That's the interesting thing, isn't it? Sometimes he's.
We're talking about that horse more than we would have been, because Spencer sat there with his, arse in the air. We'd be talking about the horse more than we otherwise would have if Oisin Murphy had ridden that and won it just as easily. I don't think we'd have dwelt as much because there wasn't that sort of bravado about the ride. Whereas Spencer generates that sort of interest just by his style.
And like you say, silky hands and just it is eye-catching. Well, you mentioned it obviously in running, so you just learn.
You just see them, don't you? Everyone else rowing away and jockeying for position.
And sat there.
And the other thing to notice about that, watch it back the replay. You can do it on your members section, almost about 15 minutes after every single race. He actually goes from the near side to the. He covers quite a bit of ground, doesn't he? I'd say the horse was green. I think we've probably seen quite a nice horse there, guys. Did anyone get it? Let us know if you got the first winner here on RP Live. It was the first race, by the way, the novice stroke maiden race or whatever it was, won by that 1,000 to 1 shot in running. Slow by 5.72. So while it says good ground at the minute, Keith, this is not the good ground that you would get in June or July, is it?
If you're looking at the pictures on the screen, it's wet there at Newmarket. The rain has come. I think you're looking at you're looking at certainly soft side, and maybe by the time of the Sun Chariot or later, you're looking at maybe even soft ground. So it depends how much it gets in and how much they cut it up, and how much they choose, because obviously there's a big wide track in the Rolling Mile to go at. It's whether they keep choosing to go up that far side and churn it up, or whether they come more near side in subsequent races, and we'll just have to see how it plays out, really.
All right, we'll find out then. We'll be keeping an eye on France, as we mentioned. Gosh, the Cadran. Who wins? Finally, Stradivarius versus Truchan, but there's also last year's winner, Princess Zoe, in there as well. We've got, 10 minutes to the next race at Ascot. It is the Roos Stakes. So my learned colleagues do tell me. We can see the market up there. Let's get the trades out of the way, and then we'll have a little wee chat about France tomorrow before they go off. We've got some right favourites here, Mark. Who has the Hryhorskyj selection landed on?
There's actually one that Keith mentioned earlier I'm actually against. It was Hurricane Ivor. I'm going to actually Dutch 2 in the race, though, so it might balance it out, because I know Keith likes Dutching, but I think this is wide open. I'm against Hurricane Ivor just on the ground. 2 runs on softish ground, unplaced twice. I just think he's running still, coming off the pace. I don't think it'll suit here the way the race is going to unfold. I think he could get bogged down out the back and could struggle. The 2 I like in this race. The first one is Michael Dodd's Dakota Gold. Was much bigger prices. Yesterday was around 11 to 2, but it's very popular now. It could even go a favourite here. On recent form, hard to make a case, but easing underfoot condition are going to play right into this one's hands. He's back to his near best. Be very difficult to beat for me. Popular on the sportsbook, 11 to 2 now, 7 to 2. Has won the last 2 runnings of this as well. So definitely one of interest. The yard's coming in a bit of form, so that'll be the first one for win purposes. Second one is Significantly for Carl Burke. He is form linked to Hurricane Ivor early in the season. Beat that one at Ascot on the 10th of July over today's trip. Really liked that run in the Derrinstown Flying Stakes at the Curragh on the 12th of September. It's only beaten 5 lengths, went off 66s that day. I think that's strong form. Definitely went in my notebook. And obviously Significantly was behind Hurricane Ivor last time in the Group 3 Dubai International Airport Trophy Stakes, but it's £4 better off for the weights. It's the ground factor that's putting me off Hurricane Ivor here. So I'm going to Dutch 2 here. If you want to do this for me, Keith. Mm-hmm. So what we'll do is we'll have a £30 win on Dakota Gold, and then we'll have a score. We'll have £20 on Significantly on the win.
Yep, and they've both been matched.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, the ground you mentioned for Hurricane Ivor. Let's switch here, because this is a topical horse. A lot of these sprinters have run against each other so far this season. You know, it's one of the beautiful narratives of the sprint division. You know, whose turn it will be today, who's the one that's going up to pattern class. This guy looks like he's bound for it, doesn't he, Keith? 5.5 furlong horse, I would call him. Like Tis Marvellous, he's up against another one here. But Mossgill, he pounced on him late. He's going to need them to go hard. Will he act on the ground?
Hurricane Ivor? I wouldn't see why not. I mean, that Portland win was on
good soft, wasn't it?
Softer side, the Portland. You know,
Shall I give you a time of the first at Ascot? We had a 7 furlongs listed race, one by With Thanks, and another one for the Haggish team, bouncing back. She does like a lot of juice underfoot, but the time wasn't bad, actually, just remind myself. It was only slow by 3.45 seconds. Now, we didn't see that race here in the studio. We don't know whether they went hammer and tongs, but it doesn't suggest it's too bad on the straight course.
No, so as long as it's not, you know, if it does get boggy, then I think the reason for Dakota Gold getting punted is partly down to that, because people see the conditions he's won this race.
We like the Hurricane, right? This is the weekend of the Hurricane. Well, out there it's blowing.
He's not even
2 horses.
Not even the Hurricane I fancy most this weekend. No, I really like him, but we'll get onto that.
We will indeed. We will get onto that indeed. Hurricane Ivor, the Spotlight selection, free premium content you get here. And Paul Bakewell, a regular contributor, comes on and says 205. Hang on, Paul. I better look at this seriously. Ascot, right. Autumn horse, Dakota Gold, my choice. Rainy, soft times will help endeavours. So you're with Marc Hryhorskyj there.
Rainy, soft times. I'm going to start using that.
Yeah.
Rainy soft times.
Bakewell, you've caused a stir with the betting editor.
Soft time.
Rainy soft
Yeah,
times.
it's got to match
That's
up
a
some
Nat
jazz
Green
hands.
sort of saying that.
It is.
isn't
It really is with jazz hands.
No,
So
but
I find this race quite interesting because I was at Newbury when Hurricane Ivor won, but that day I ended up speaking to Maureen Haggis so much just because of the runners that she had, and I know obviously they really like this. Moss Gill is actually owned by someone I know, and they're wonderful. So I don't want to say Moss Gill.
Hang on. I'm a Moss Gill fan.
Yeah, I know, but
Hang on.
the head gear. There's
They're
what
Bethel
else? Yeah, but
Sprinter.
where else do you go with Moss Gill? Like it's got a bit of seconditis at the moment. You've got to admit that the headgear. It just, I said to Ed.
But it's a pretty solid yardstick, isn't it, in the sprint
It
division?
is a solid
It's
yardstick.
placed in a non-top.
It is a solid yardstick. But I said to Ed at Newbury, he looked a bit disappointed. I said, "What do you do?" And he goes, "Yeah, what do you do now? Tried everything." And Hurricane Ivor is absolutely class. But I do think Mark's made a little bit of a point. Now look, the cutting ground will suit Hurricane Ivor. It's just how soft this is that I still.
His one run at Ascot was behind significantly, in the Heritage Handicap in July. The track is for a 5 furlong horse like him and Tis Marvellous, who I'm going to come on to, the other 5.5 furlong horse in the race. It's why they always turn up there, because it's perfect.
Yeah.
It does. And it's one of the weird tracks where horses held up tend to have a better record than horses that race prominently.
Okay, before we get Nat's tip then, because myself and Keith are both on the Hurricane, unlike Mark, who's taking him on. That's what you get here. Frizzy Red comes on. Great to have you back, Frizzy Red. And says, fancy significantly in this one, the one I just mentioned. Perfect. So, okay, we'll come back to that because the commander is back. Von Roerich himself says, can't trust significantly. Wow. Can't have Dakota winning this either. I'll take a chance on Minzal being ready. All right, let's get the panel getting ready for thoughts on these, Commander, and the Frizzy Red. Is there one more out there for us? So... Okay, that's an idea. You don't know with these guys. We've got Dan Walsh back in the gallery. Will and Kyle.
I've said to the guys in the studio,
I don't think I've ever seen as many notes on a horse from you as I've just seen on Minzal.
Yeah, because I'm really excited to see Minz. I've been off for a year. He produced a
tip?
scintillating display to win from off the pace back at York 2020. God, get your years muddled up,
the
don't we?
Ripon winner?
No, but Minzal
I
has...
won the gym crack.
Yeah.
Oh, he was placed in the middle park.
Much speed about him, though. Honestly, so much speed about him. This try at 5 furlongs, I think, is a good thing. But no, the tip is I'm going crazy here. I'm going to try and flip the form over and go with Tis Marvellous. Yes, he's 7. People think, oh, for goodness sake, Natalie, da-da-da. But horses for courses. This is Clive Cox has actually said this to my face. This horse absolutely loves this track, and I think that course form here in these conditions could just be really important.
Like Moss Gill, I've mentioned this on the show before. I know the owner or one of the part owners of Tis Marvellous, and you're right. It's because he's a 5.5 furlong horse. That's why he turns up at the Shergar Cup. I've tipped him successfully the last twice that he's run on this show, and I will have a little bit on him, but I wonder whether he can. Even in receipt of £2, I think something like Hurricane Ivor will have the legs of him.
That is the problem, isn't it?
Well, that was the Beverley run was the one I tipped him
It was a
up.
great day, that was.
Yeah, I tipped him up when he was third to Hurricane Ivor last time because I was so impressed by Beverley. He won that race so well. He won by nearly 4 lengths, and over 5 furlongs, that's a stone. You're a stone better than everything that day. He just finished so strongly. But that's the sort of horse he is. These stiff 5s suit him. I can see him running well again, but he run behind Hurricane Ivor last time, and how does he reverse that unless he becomes a Beverley horse again? And was a Beverley horse, because Beverley's a funny old track.
Yeah, it is.
Is Beverley, there's a Beverley horse, does he exist, or was it a bit of a mirage?
Yeah.
So I just thought Hurricane Ivor was the bet in the race out of the 2. When I looked at this race, I thought if Hurricane Ivor was 9-4, I would say that's fair enough. And he's been 3-1 solid for the last 24 hours. So for me, that means he's got to be the one I put up, really. But
I think one thing that is really nice about Hurricane Ivor, again, like I was talking to Maureen about this, is the way that he shoots for the line. I do think that he can take a little time to get going. If you watch his replays, but then when he goes for it, my God, then that is when he's really impressive.
Yeah, he just runs right through that. I think Tis Marvellous was the same about Beverley. He might have been the only one that was running through the line.
Yeah.
And with these sprinters, because they just go, where's my head, and throwing it, just hell for leather out the gate, it can be a bit like that. But the ones that run through the line, you really notice them.
Yeah, all right. So this was always going to be a topical race, wasn't it? Let's go down some of the others that are keep busy. She had a win at Ayr, didn't she, early in the year? She'll like the ground, I think, for
Strong
John
pace
Quinn.
will suit.
Late money for that one, Dave, as well.
Go on, Mark.
Keep busy. Very strong in the exchange. Double figure prices into 7.4. Could be a similar
table.
trend to Spencer in the last
I can see with strong pace. I can see keep busy.
We need to speak to Mark about Minzal, don't we? Because how's the exchange treating him? It's a key for this horse because he's not run for over a year.
Well, for that sort of like layoff, it's only 7-1, especially on this ground. So someone's definitely backing that one. The money for Dakota Gold seeming dried up. Hurricane Ivor's solid at the top of the bang, 3-1, around 11-4 in the sports book. The thing is, we had sort of players. If Hurricane Ivor's around 6-4, I'd probably be laying this one, but I couldn't lay the horse around that price. I don't think they can decide the exchange right now. But one thing they do not like significantly. That one's drifting right out to 10-1. Tis Marvellous coming at 11-2, 6.4. Yeah, we'll see how this one unfolds. I think this will be a good indicator to see sort of the time as well, to see how bad the ground is.
Just on the Ascot factor, Frizzy read out there in particular, at a question for you, the commander didn't like it, did he? But just on the Ascot factor, still one, probably not ideal significantly at all, but just loves the track, doesn't it? And how do 3-year-olds get on in this race? Let's have a look at
That's another thing with this. Hurricane Ivor's drawn 9, he's right on the rail. It means he'll probably need to actually get off the rail at some point because he will be held
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Absolutely. All right, I'm really looking forward to this. We've got Strong Johnson in the race as well. The Irish Radar turning up 6 days later. A bit of money for him, I can see.
He handles all ground, doesn't he? The ground's never.
Glad you've got notes on him. I've
got notes on everything.
I was having to reach then.
I've got notes on everything. And I've even got notes.
Snazzy Jazzy?
Snazzy Jazzy, serious rain would be in his favour.
Absolutely. He actually debuted this season, didn't he, for the stable in the Wokingham, the big sprint handicap. He's been sort of struggling to find his level since, but he used to love 6 furlongs on heavy ground when he was with Clive Cox, didn't he? Loved it.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, it's raining at Ascot, I can tell you that much. We've got the Cumberland Lodge Stakes coming up. We've got the Bengoff Stakes as well. We're not too far away now, 50 minutes away from the Group 1 of the day. It is the Matron Stake. What wins? Let us know. Mother Earth punted off the boards.
Not the Matron Stakes, Dave.
Well, I was called it the Matron. That's the other fillies Group 1. That would have gone unknown.
They all run in the Matron last time.
They did. I was thinking of Mother Earth and Matron. That's been a bit topical, by the way, isn't it? We'll get to that. Mother Earth and Aidan and Jockey Ship and all that sort of stuff. Ooh, who read that? We should tell you that you'd have seen feature shows. Aidan O'Brien joined me in the studio. And we have got a big read tomorrow with the Ballydoyle Maestro. You cannot miss that. From 6 p.m. tonight, your digital subscribers, members club, and in your paper tomorrow. Unmissable read that Richie Forrestal has got with the Maestro himself. The big 3 in the Arc. Still building up to who wins the Arc. We might even give you some Cadran coverage as well, by the way. Sorry, Mark, at 2:15, in between our next races. If Newmarket are being sluggish, we will definitely get in the Cadran. And the first race in France today, it has gone to a Godolphin Raider. Real world.
I guess.
Yes.
Good horse, that.
Proper horse, right? The Hunt Cup winner. We've been watching him on this show. We've been charting him. Marco Gianni. What price will he be now for the Champion Stakes? We will get that from Marc Hryhorskyj after he gives us a final succinct, please, Mark.
The Dakota Goals just went favourite. They're around 3-1, 4.2. Hurricane Ivor's on the drift, 4.5. You can sort of see the drift now is significantly. This one's playing up at the stalls. I don't think this one's going to go in at all. It's around 10-1.
Not happy.
The other thing to notice in the market, Minzal's quite strong.
Yeah, Minzal's coming in, so just keep busy.
In pictures, he did look nice. I thought just a wee bit, he's come next to you because he's Scottish a wee bit. Still a wee bit more toning up to do behind in the rear.
The guys in the studio, by the way,
that's something I just don't know.
So in the gallery, the guys in the studio they rarely do this for me. They give me the time of that race in France as well, slowed by 5.5 seconds. They put very, in capital letters, soft over there in France.
Really?
Certainly visually.
I don't
but
think
Real World had a
he's going to
question
go
mark
in,
over
Dave.
about that.
This is not looking good.
Significantly doesn't want to know
He
at all.
is not having it.
He's been on the go a long time, significantly. A lot of you out there like him on the Ascot Factor, the 3-year-old in the back with Minzal. Fascinated to see what Minzal will do, actually. I mean,
he's a horse I'm looking at in the betting, and he is solid. The favourites have turned again. They're basically joint favs on the machine, really. They're 4.2 and basically 3-1 joint favs here, really, if you're looking at the Betfair prices. But Minzal, I think they're expecting it to have been off by now. I think the late money suggests that he's thought to be reasonably fit, but Nat is telling us otherwise.
Yeah. No, he does. No, he does look fit. I just mean...
As a bull, you said.
I did.
Fit bulls out there, don't we?
For me, these sprinters can come in all shapes and sizes, but the engine is at the back. the engine's their bottom. So I just like to see that really, really, really toned up. And with Tis Marvellous and Hurricane Ivy, you saw that quite prominently. But Minzal still looks a very classy type.
Great stuff. Thanks, Nat, for that. Yeah, really interesting, actually. All right, 205, the Roost Stakes. Who's going to be the Admiral at the end? They are off and running significantly. He's in, and he's ploughing something of a lone furrow as they want this rail. Keith hinted that might be the case, and Hurricane Ivor is it around about 5th off Dakota Gold, who's striking for that. He's got company up front, though, with Strong Johnson. What's that done to the market, Marc Hryhorskyj?
Yeah, Dakota Gold short and running already around 5-2. It's around 3-1. Hurricane Ivor's on the drift out to 7-1. Keep busy 9-2 at the moment, but they can't make their mind up here. But definitely looks like an advantage.
I'm going to say that's a big price about Hurricane Ivor if he gets a run. It looks like he's going to.
Minzal's not getting a run.
Oh, he's cruising.
Comes significantly. He's coming now.
Here comes Minzal as well.
Minzal's looking
Stand
good
side,
here.
Dakota Gold's absolutely cooked. Hurricane's flopped. He's not picked up at all. This is Tis Marvellous. Wouldn't it be lovely to see the old
Come on,
boy
Natalie
Minzal?
Green.
Dakota coming
Come
back.
on.
Looks like Tis Marvellous. Natalie Green might get the winner.
Please.
Here we go.
Please.
Come on, the duck eggs are no more.
Yes,
Tis
well
Marvellous.
done.
Please.
Okay, yes indeed. You can calm down now. The competitive
first and
streak there is back.
second.
What was that? Minzal was second as we got a forecast. Never sell yourself short, Nat Green.
never
All right,
sell.
well, we let Natalie cover. Oh, I tell you what, the pressure was off. Graham Rodway felt it in the studio here. It was getting like that. Well done, Nat. And all that sort of thing. Cream rises. Marc Hryhorskyj, they must have known from a long way out there. The rest of them fell in a hole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hurricane Ivor, I think that one was beat by halfway, just couldn't get into the race. Significantly, obviously, playing up at the start. Was never in it. I think it was Dakota Gold. I think the shortest that one went, I'm just checking that for you just now, it probably went quite short. The shortest he's went was around 2-1 for £106, but it was getting hampered by Strong Johnson. It's obviously hanged into the middle of the track as well, which is obviously a disadvantage. The interesting one is the one that Keith put up was Minzal. That's actually even money in running there
And
for
Natalie.
decent money.
I trouble.
I don't
Natalie.
think it ever looked like an even money shot there again, done for £200.
Well-
but the winner's done it well. Tis Marvellous. I'll see
Yeah.
what price that one's
Let's pick the bones out of this then, Mark. Hurricane Ivor's, I think, has actually come last, Keith. I suggest that might look a big price. I thought he was revving up on the rail. But
He was beat after a furlong.
yeah, would we put that down to the ground? Too long a season or something wrong there?
I would be open to the ground idea. It looks quite sloppy there, actually.
I think I remember Dream of Dreams getting beaten in the Bengoff Stakes a couple of years ago, and that was horrible ground that day at Ascot.
Minzal travelled really well, I thought, and I would be interested. Is he in the champion?
He's got to be the one to take from the race.
Is he in the champion sprint?
I'm just looking now.
Let's have a little look while Nat does
That's
that.
that's what I'm
All
doing.
back in the game, Nat Green. I'm
I know,
sensing some energy again.
Oh,
Well done,
they made me feel
The
emotional.
entire chat, they're with you. Oh, you soppy lot out
Only when I
there.
got the forecast.
I jumped off him. What about the sympathy for me? I'll tell you what,
He
it's
is,
great.
no, he is in the champion sprint, Minzal.
Oh, sorry, I'm too slow.
Moo Hurrah, of course, won it for Shadwell.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's thinking about that, to be honest, the horse. So don't worry.
Exactly. Horse
What
doesn't
sort of
know.
horse they aim at it, Keith. I'll tell you what, it's a bit of a boost for...
But what's he come?
Huckham?
What else has he come back for? He must have come back for the champion sprint.
Well, if he's fit and he's well and he's come back, there are races around for him. He's a
Yeah, I think he must. That's obviously been the aim. They'll be delighted with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, because he touched even money in running, didn't he? Mark was wondering why that was. He was. I was.
Yeah, even as a bit short because Tis Marvellous was always
but he
travelling.
cruised.
He did. He was just about last off the bridle.
A word for Tis Marvellous before we switch to Paris for the Cadran, the 2 mile 4 race. Really interesting betting race that is, and we'll give it to you because it's the match we wanted. Tis Marvellous, absolutely fantastic horse. Looked like he might have gone a little bit at the start of the season.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing that there was a quote in the Racing Post that Clive Cox had written, and it's like, surely he's one of the best horses in the world to own. Like, so, just something. It's the narrative.
Yard
that we've been
favourite,
talking
Stable
about.
Star.
Stable Star, 7 years old. It's a nice narrative.
You've got a horse that's maybe not quite like Group 1 class, but he's got a track that he loves. You want that track to be Ascot, because then there's so many races he can run in.
Sure.
He can run in Wokinghams, he can run in this race. He's got so much going for him.
And great for the owners, like you say. Then,
Fourth cost and distance win, back at listed, so I'll be back hopefully as an 8-year-old for the Shergar Cup, etc., because he lights them up. All right, that was the Roost Stakes. All right, we've got the 220. That's on the running order here for everyone. But as we've seen in recent years and seasons, when we have a decent feature race in Ireland that we're not covering or something like that, we covered, of course, the Beresford Stakes the other day with Luxembourg when he was on, didn't he? One of the new anti-post derby favourites for Ballydor. We do have a treat for you. And Keith, it is the Cadran. Can we get the market up? Is there any way we can do that, guys? No, we can't. It is on the exchange.
It's an absolute hospital past that, Dave.
It was what to the gallery.
To the gallery, yeah.
Well, I think.
What, can you do it, lads? Oh, you can. Oh, you're not good, are you?
We've got people come back into the gallery that know this show. The people that are pressing the buttons. I have to say that I'm pretty sure that we got the other races up last week, didn't we? That we didn't have there.
Probably told them about
it. It is on the exchange, Marc Hryhorskyj, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we?
I'll need to load this one up for you, Dave.
What do you mean it's a Cadran? It's on the exchange, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's. I have to go into.
You can do it.
Yeah, I can do. Of course, I can. Here it
What
is.
did
The reason why I'm interested in it, Nat, sorry, before you start, is that Trushan looks like he's going to be clear favourite now. Last year's winner, Princess Zoe, this is her FA Cup, if you like. This is the final for her. She's right on the drift. And Stradivarius, having looked like he was going out, what about him on the ground? Was he even going to turn up? He's now hardening up a bit as well.
Yeah, it's.
Hey!
Trushan's 2.38 at the moment. It's quite short. It's 200,000 match in the market right now.
All right, okay. So listen, this isn't something of an unexpected treat for you. It's a great card on the Saturday over there. I know some people that are going over this week. Paul Keeley is over there this week, a few others that are going. We'll talk about the ARC. We've got lots of chat that coming. Get your ARC tips in, your 1, 2, 3, however you want to play it. We'll give you a chat. We're going to watch the Cadran, then we'll have a bit of a crack at it in here, get some real-time analysis and reaction for you. Stradivarius, Princess Zoe, Trushan or something else?
Yeah, I said to Keith this morning, and I was kind of quite warm on Princess Zoe just because of how tough she's.
Surprised about the price then?
She's so tough. A little bit, but Trushan, I've made it clear, it's always been absolutely one of the favourites of mine. Ground's perfect. Trushan.
I get the feeling you don't like Stradivarius.
No, he gets a lot of love because he wins all these races because he's got the best turn of foot.
But do you think this year that has switched towards Trushan? And as Graham Rodway said to me yesterday, your betting editor assistant, he said to me, hang on a minute, doesn't Trushan have as many excuses, if not more, than Stradivarius? He can't run on good ground.
They don't run him on good ground, and that's their choice. But he's never been like his best RPR is like 1-2-1. He's in Andalusian it wasn't the stairs. You wouldn't be winning Group 1s with that figure.
Yeah, we're about to jump off, guys.
Yeah, I mean the Princess Zoe thing. I think Natalie's reaction to when I told us she was joint fav was telling there because you couldn't believe it. So the price that she's getting to.
Wow, they're all in there for the Cadran. Good luck wherever you're playing. We'll have some. Wouldn't it be lovely though to see, of course, Strad take this out? They're off and running. Then this will be a deeper race than what she won last year. But
Miles,
one of the stories of the season, wasn't she, last year?
She was, and the Cadran is often one of the worst Group 1s in Europe. So she's won that last year, and I think his brother's horse, I think Stratton was aimed at this race because it was one of the worst Group 1s in Europe. But it just so happens if you could.
Well, no, it's a place in the calendar, isn't it, as well?
I mean, let's be honest.
It's never attracted the Yateses of this world, has it?
No horse is bred to be Stradivarius. No horse is bred to be Yates. Yates was bred to win the Derby.
Yeah.
And that's why these staying races tend to be meat, because no horse is bred to win the Cadran.
But it is one of the favourite divisions, isn't it? I mean, you're obviously... you put most of your punting eggs in the 3 mile chase division over jumps, right? So do you like, is it akin to watching stayers on the fact you prefer watching?
Yeah, me and Rod have been handicapping the stayers all year. We won't do this race because we only do Britain. So we have handicapped all the British and Irish horses in this race at some point.
Oh no, I'm watching them. I'm looking at the RPRs. You've got Trushan just ahead.
It wouldn't have been us, it would have been Matt Gardner did that. But he'd have been using figures that would be partly at least ours. Yeah.
Of course, absolutely. Call the Wind is in this race as well for Freddie Head, a horse that never really came up to measure. But the one thing we could say about this is going to be a right old slog over there because two have gone absolutely miles clear at the moment. Stratum right out the back for Willie Mullins.
I'm liking
Princess Zoe very short and bang here, Dave. Princess Zoe around 2-1.
I'm liking Princess Zoe in this in running. I really am.
60s.
And now, this thing that is in second, Bubble Smart, I've got a feeling this tried to do this in the race last year. Something went clear in the race last year behind Princess Zoe. Actually, it wasn't this one, actually.
Under Group 3 here.
Something in these colours did. And what's this leading it as well? This is improvised, by the way, guys, in case you hasn't guessed.
Is this number...
this is Alcuin.
Alcuin.
I mean, pronounce that at your peril.
Yeah, Alcuin. But that, again, likes positive ride, doesn't it? Likes to be prominent. So
Joey Sheridan on Princess Zoe, again, another great story. I mean, if it wasn't for this horse, people, the faith that they've kept in this chap went over, of course, in COVID last year when no one went over. The owners made the trip, didn't they? They got exemption to go over there. Princess Zoe then pulling a little bit, isn't she? What about Trushan? Where is Trushan? Let's pick him up.
Christian De Muro's seen something nobody else has. He's taken Stratton wide.
Yes.
He must have
in the sweeping home straight for the first time.
Well, this is the back straight, second time.
All right, okay.
That's the trees
all
where
of a
they
sudden
start.
Some trees are coming past.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the greatest viewing at Longchamp when I last went. Again, we'll talk plenty about that as well, but that's definitely the back straight. Thank you, Keith. All right.
Trushan's just sort of, just
Emperor of the Sun's in there for Donica.
That's a more prominent ride than he normally gets, isn't it? It's where
Yeah, he's
sat
danced
there.
some big staying dances, hasn't he?
He has, but he tends to get set far too much to do.
Are we
but he's more
assuming-
prominent this time.
Are we assuming that this is going to be close enough to the Champions Day long distance cup for Trushan, of course, which is when he sprung to prominence really last year?
I'll wait and see what gets put in. Entered, I'm not really. I'll wait and see what they do.
What I'm saying is it slightly surprising that I know he's only had 3 runs this season, but surely it's all about Holly and the repeat bid, isn't it? Holly can't ride, of course, today.
No, you'd have said so, but yeah, they must have thought about whether they're going to do it or not.
Yeah. How's he settled? That would be the question, because he can be quite a keen horse. This is 2 mile 4.
He's buried in the pack here. He doesn't look to have been keen at all.
He's just enthusiastic, isn't he? They're revving up a little bit, guys, by the way.
Princess Zoe's in a group that's going a bit wider.
Stradivarius is tanking. What a sight.
absolutely tanking.
Is this a false straight?
Trushan looks in a bit of trouble, is he? What's the market?
He's tucked in behind. He's still travelling fine.
We can't
It's
see
5
it.
to 2, 11 to 4. Princess Zoe's
Princess
favourites.
Zoe's. Oh, she's tanking. Look at her. Look at she's all over them.
looks-
Trushan's beat.
Princess
Nice
Zoe in
on.
this.
Trushan odds on now.
It's
Trushan's
very
got
similar
6.
colours in this race,
Yeah,
Keith.
1 or 2 now, yeah.
They're in
Oh,
the
he's finding.
now, then
He
what's
is
Strad
finding.
got?
He's rolling.
Lovely to see Strad
He is
do this.
rolling.
Oh, I think Strad wins this, doesn't he? Come on,
He's a
Strad.
length down.
The big 2. Right, Princess Zoe's struggling all of a sudden.
She's got to nothing.
She's paceless. Trushan, this is Stradivarius' race. Call the Wind is there. I've backed him so many times.
Tell you what, we're
this
getting
race.
the
He's
race.
not
We're getting the race between them.
Wow, come on, Stradivarius.
Oh,
You
look at
can
him. He's
do
hanging.
this.
Strad's
Oh
hanging.
my
Trushan
God.
coming back. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Straddy's. Oh, okay, fair enough. Look, the big 2, they've had their match.
Tell you what, the
Stradivarius
stride's
is on a
shortening.
blind up.
Is he gonna
He's
get
only going
third?
to be second.
No, he's gonna
He's
finish
second, he's fine. Trushan, well done, those of you that kept with the fade. You've got huge following out there.
Yeah.
That's his ground, isn't it? Trushan then stamps himself the best stayer in Europe now.
It's quality.
It's got to be, yeah. I mean, I think that's the end of Stradivarius, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, he got outstayed more than anything.
you-
Where does he go? I suppose that's the problem, isn't it? Can he get outstayed? He's a Gold Cup winner. Did he get outstayed? The ground
How many
probably
Gold Cups did they just piddle about for 2 miles? In
See, this is what I knew he wouldn't like him. I knew you'd be down on Stradivarius. I love Stradivarius.
No, I do.
We
No,
didn't
God,
back him when he won all those, races.
can't not love him, but there's always a time, isn't it? Like, look, you don't want to see him to start struggling in his races. You're better off, you don't.
What else do they do with it? What else can he do?
Does he turn
got
up
nothing to prove.
at Ascot Stradivarius and one throw of the dice? That was a lot better than he was in the
Yeah,
art.
that was a lot better.
Yeah, and he looked at one point. I'm sure he went very low on exchanges. But Mark, we've got to get to the sales race. You like Fearby, don't you? Let's get that out of the way.
I
don't?
No, the horse I put was Ernie's Valentine, who's got form and is drawn right on that.
Coal horse.
Yeah.
Mark, 220. It's the sales race. Mixed bag as ever in this race. Keith is going for Ernie's Valentine. Where does he sit in the exchange market?
Currently 12's 11 to 1 on the Betfair Exchange right now. But I'm quite sweet on the favourite here, Fearby. I actually spoke to Ryan Moore on Thursday night. I mean, he was very impressed with the performance at Sandown and the listed Dragon Stakes earlier in the year. Backed this up next time out in Group 3 company, solid run, and the Molecombe Stakes at Goodwood. In my opinion, I think Fearby was unlucky as well in running at York in the Gimcrack Stakes won by Richard Hannon's The Seal. This is a massive step down in class for me. I think there's a lot of deadwood in this race. My only question mark would be the step from 5 to 6, but I'm hoping Ryan can dictate from the front and his class will prevail here. I think Richard Hannon's folding was quite interesting. I hacked up in a 7 furlong maiden at Lingfield on heavy ground. It's been chucked in the deep end here. I think I'll probably have to run to about 90 plus to beat Fearby. So Fearby, just a straight £50 win, please, Keith.
£50. He has been back. He was 7 to 2 last night, Fearby, and I was
That's a silly
the
price.
clip that got taken out of me on that in the no show we did last night was saying I thought Fearby was absolutely a fair price at 7 to 2. I'm not surprised to see him get punted in.
I must have heard that then, Keith, because it's Ryan Moore, it's Ed Bethel. I spoke to Ed Bethel a couple of weeks ago. Let's just put it this way, we weren't over the moon with the Gimcrack effort, let's put it that way.
The thing is, he's got this. It's a sort of first good horse syndrome a little bit, isn't it? Because Ed Bethel is his first really good horse he's had, and everybody gets really excited about their first good horse, don't they?
Yeah, and he's 27 or something. Ed Bethel, like he's a young lad.
Yeah,
Obviously his father's very much involved. It's very easy to get excited. Again, sorry to hark back, but I was at Newbury that day. I was all over the winner, Clive Cox's Wings of War.
Yes.
I picked out for the paddock. Oh my God, what an absolute belter that is. So I don't think 6 furlongs is a problem at all for Fearby. At all.
I don't. I'll tell you what he does. He hits a flat spot.
Yeah.
I think we might be seeing some sort of headgear. Does that look like headgear?
Yeah.
Some sort of headgear on him at some point. I often do that for winkers or
He
something.
should have
like
enough
that.
class though in this under Ryan.
He's rated 104,
Yeah, I mean,
and the
come
second
on.
favourite Tatsumaki is 88, and he's getting not that much.
These races have funny conditions.
They are.
They're based on your sales price as a
Some love for Foden out there in the chat. I can see Hugh Masson. Good to see you
That's
back.
quite a cool story.
Great
What
run
about-
from the pair of the stayers. They're saying out there as well. We're getting that vibe.
Yeah,
The thing is, you got the scrap.
The head-to-head you wanted.
We got it. So yeah, everybody.
The horses.
Yeah, exactly.
The two best horses went to.
Princess Zoe went to nothing though.
No, she just.
Tanked
Drift
I know.
told, didn't it?
She looked awesome. Foden, great story though. 1,300 guineas as a foal, and then 9,500 guineas as a yearling. It's not often you see like
And
that.
hosed up on soft ground when it was last seen.
Yeah.
Probably going to love
I mean,
it.
he's owned by Midland Park.
Midland
I
Park.
loved. Yeah, they got Agueros and Agueros.
Yeah, I know that, but not the sort of horse they'd buy, is he?
I know. That's why I've written
Expensive is
it
what
there.
you're saying, yeah. All
They
right.
tend to spend a bit more money than that.
Harry Dunlop's got one in here as well. A Day in Asia with Nicola Curry on.
I quite
as
fancy
well.
that.
Do you? Is that
Honestly.
A Day in Asia.
Yeah, honestly, I know.
A Day's had a great season, hasn't he, with his
Honestly.
progeny, the sire.
Improving filly. One massive issue, we've got no idea about the ground for her.
Is this the race that
I
Just
do
Frank
not.
won last
I
year?
do not know.
Yes, just
It is,
right.
isn't it?
Blasted up the far side.
It was a right old gamble from Les Ayres' team, wasn't it?
Good old Les Ayres.
And everyone thought you needed to be
old
steady. Yeah,
Les
he is. Yeah, great trainer, Les. Wily old character. And everyone thought you had to be stand side, and then that just plowed its own trail.
70,
And it turned out it was a near group horse.
Did a Bielsa, didn't he? Basically did a Bielsa.
Yes.
It was blasted up. And
Yeah,
did his own
Bielsa,
thing.
of course, coming back out to play, along with great ambassador, 1-2 in the Air Gold Cup. They're taking on Glenn Shield, who's been on the drift. That's 3:15. That's coming your way. We're half an hour away from the Sun Chariot here on RP Live. Welcome along. Myself, Dave Orton, Nat Green. Betting into himself, the quizmaster Keith Melrose comes back onto the show, and Marc Hryhorskyj from Betfair as well. I've no idea how long you've got to tell us before they go into the stalls, Mark. In fact, you have got no time, I'm telling you. So I'm going to do that. Fear B then over 2-1. I'm a little bit surprised about that. He would be a solid play for me. I'm keeping the faith. Off and running they go. And where do they go, guys?
goodness.
Okay, we've got a small group,
small
with
group on the
Fear B
stand side.
included, that have got no choice but to explore that
Gonna go into
centre.
two.
Now they're coming stand side, and it's who goes fastest, isn't it? And I'd say Ryan Moore has done rather well to get Fear B in about fifth in that pack. And who's that down the stand side? Now the camera's gone middle side, so that
Middle
looks
looked to be
like-
up to me. The middle looked like they were in front.
No
Miles up
apologies
the-
about not knowing some of these horses, by the way.
The middle's miles clear.
It's a
isn't it?
mixed
General
bag.
panic. Have you got general panic?
Yeah, that is General Panic. Well done, Nat.
I know. I'm on it. I'm on it today. It's not
Okay,
like
where's
green
Fear B? He's on the near side group.
Favourite child's in front on this near side. In fact, favourite child's going well and going as well as anything in this
Cole
race.
Burkholz under Josie Gordon.
So Henry
Now Fear
Cotton.
B. What's going to handle the dip? I think he's going to be stand side.
What's this thing that's gone clear?
Coming down the middle.
In the
What on earth is this? Looks like Colbert colours, I can tell you that much. Okay. It's Tatsumaki.
Tatsumaki.
Oh, it's miles
So,
clear.
okay, Fear B on the near
Off the
side. Something has done a Just Frank, and this is obviously a very good horse, guys, that the handicappers didn't know
Look at the
anything
size
about
of it.
because it has slammed
Look at his
Fear B.
stride.
Poor old
Fear
Fear B.
B's second
He's won
there.
the best of the rest, but no good for Marco Botti. Neil Callan. There's a name that we haven't said too much about on this show so
That's a
far.
heck of a
Back from
stride
Hong
on that
Kong.
horse.
He
Yeah,
backed it in from
it is
9
a
to 2,
long-
Mark.
Massive.
Mark, let's go to you then. Story of the race. This was obviously a mover when the markets came out. 1 from 1. It's now got a hat trick. It was in 14. It kept to the middle, unlike Fear B, who came stand side. Did that cost the runner-up?
I wouldn't say so. I think the best horse in the race is one there. No excuses for Fear B. I think there might be a slight advantage being in the middle, but the favourites, Tatsumski's well on top at the finish. Done it very, very well. Didn't really trade higher than the BSP in running there at all. Fear B was on the drift after about 2 furlongs there. It was out to around 5 to 11 to 4. But yeah, Tatsumaki.
I mean, we've had some pronunciations, Mark, but that one's got Natalie going. Tatsumaki, we all went. I know we were
Tatsumaki,
struggling
yeah.
to call them in running, Mark, but
my
you're
God.
struggling to call them on paper.
I'm crying.
Tatsumaki, we're going to call it.
Oh, crying.
Tatsumaki, there we go, it's got Natalie.
It doesn't take much.
All right, so good horse, Keith.
clearly a good horse, isn't he? I mean, me and Natalie were saying, because obviously I'm a very horsey person. I said, Natalie said, look at the stride on him, because stride is a thing I'm sort of curious towards now, because of the stride length and frequency work that I sometimes check into now and again, and that you can just tell that horse is a big, tall horse with a big
long stride, big galloping stride.
Has he got any?
Just eats up the ground.
Messy race to watch, wasn't it? As ever, that race. Hard, impossible to call almost.
There's almost nothing worse towards than a big field and bad ground, isn't there? Something
And
dodgy weather, and you're like,
you see that, the mist on the screen, and it's
Yeah, I'm delighted to get that one out of the way. Well, I didn't call it really. Do you know what I mean? I just looked at Fearby and I said, I think it's Carl Burks. And of course, it was Marco Botti's, of course. And of course, it was the second favourite. So well done if you got it out there. And Just Frank, what did Just Frank do next? He sort of tried his luck, didn't he?
He ran in the Air Gold Cup when I last saw him, I think.
Yeah, but they tried to stretch him out. In the what's the Newbury race? The Colts.
Oh yes,
the Greenham.
Yeah.
Something like that, wasn't it? But yeah, anyway, it's a sprinter's race, so you got a nice sprinter there. Good to see Marco Botti having another good year. Right.
What did they do with it now? I mean, he's not got any big entries for the end of the season. You'll probably you'll get a Commonwealth Cup quote.
Ooh. Right, Marc Hryhorskyj, let's test your...
What am I looking at?
Yeah, that was a hospital pass. Talking of them, they're coming left, right and centre. Marc Hryhorskyj, let's test you. Sportsbook, anti-post, please. 2 I want. I did tease that I might want Real World and Champion Stakes from you. I'll give you a couple of minutes, Mark. We'd like Triomphe as well, and Stradivarius, please, for the Long Distance Cup on Champions Day as well. And Commonwealth, is there anything on Tatsumaki in that? Right,
yeah,
we'll give Mark a couple of minutes.
It's probably a bit better now, but yeah, just on the Long Distance Cup, Triomphe 5-4, best price, we were 6-4 at the moment, Stradivarius 4-1, Search for a Song 9-2, and I'll try and get that next one up for you just now as well.
Real World is the horse that I'm interested in for the Champions.
Yeah, I'll get that one for you as well.
For the actual Champions Stakes itself. That's going to be, we're thinking Mishriff's next port of call, aren't we? We're hoping it is. All right.
So, I mean, the thing with Triomphe as well, what the likelihood of a horse running is a very sort of back of the fag packet maths calculation between their sportsbook price and their exchange price.
Yeah.
And Triomphe's less than 6-4 on the exchange, which suggests they intend to run him, I would say.
Listen, it was his 4th run of the season. You can't say he didn't have a hard race in a Cadran, but he's got. I thought he was cooked, and
he's got Supreme Novices to win in March, hasn't he?
Oh, there we go. Who's going to be the jumper in the pack? All right, yeah. Soon we'll switch, but not yet, Melrose. You're not getting your time in the sun just yet. Flat. There's a lot going on, isn't there, at the moment? There's a lot going on. Don't you feel like there's a lot going on?
I think there's a lot going on, but I think it's also because last year there was not a lot going on. We're all like overwhelmed by everything, aren't we, at the moment? Because it's just gone thick and fast. It's like just slapped you in the face, hasn't it, this year?
Lots of people gone over to the Art this weekend. We've got 10 minutes until the Cumberland Lodge at Ascot Hookham time. We'll get to that in a sec. Hopefully Mark will find us that anti-post price on Real World as well, because I'm very interested in him all of a sudden.
Is he in the QE2 in the Champion Stakes?
He probably is in both, isn't he?
He's 8-1 on the Champion Stakes.
Sounds like he hasn't really moved to the Champion Stakes.
Yeah, he's Blue Cross Sports 15-2 in places, but we're 8-1 on the Betfair Sportsbook right now. The Mr. Strong 6-4 at the top of the market.
That is an interesting price, 8-1 for the.
He was only 10s before today, I think.
Champions.
I thought he was. We've not seen today's race. That's the thing. I would need to watch that race before I said that horse has actually shown me a bit more, because we already knew Real World was a Group 1 horse, didn't we? Before today.
Yeah.
Good horse, wasn't he? Just a really obvious good horse.
But they were worried about soft ground. They pulled him, didn't they, from York, I think it was.
They did, yeah. There's a race in soft ground that pulled him from. In fact, was it the race at Haydock?
Was it York Stakes or something like that? Was it? Oh, it might have been Haydock. It was
because there was a horse.
There was a Trey Soupley out there.
There was a King Power horse won that race in his stead. He went off short.
Yeah, Fox whatever.
Yeah.
Foxtail.
Not Foxtail. That's the absolute
We could be there for
Foxtail. Foxtail that throws his head in the air.
The lovable character that is Foxtail.
But anyway, it's that good horse that didn't seem to like the bad ground at Haydock that day. Still won like a good horse. Ran recently.
Breeders' Cup. The gallery are saying to me, could he be Breeders' Cup? Could he be the Mile? Or something like that? Look,
Real Worlds, you can win it. You can go for whatever he likes, because he's a Group 1 horse.
He is a Group 1 horse. His early performance is told that Solid Stones boosted the form, thankfully, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, British Champions Day. I've just given the studio a bit of a false praise there. They actually meant the QE2 as well. All right, so we're 8 minutes away from the Cumberland Lodge. You can see it up there. Hookham. He's got that penalty, hasn't he? This is a borderline Group 1 horse, guys, running in a Group 3, Marc Hryhorskyj. Do you like him or are you against him? I'm sensing some weakness on the exchange.
Yeah, I'm against him. I want to take the favourite on here. I thought he was majorly disappointing last time at Kempton. Had every chance. I'm quite keen on Hughie Morrison's lightly raced 4-year-old Quick Fawn here. This one's been well found in the market. There's currently 4.3. I could easily see this one going off favourite. Much bigger prices earlier on. He went down a neck in the E-bar handicap 2 runs back. Just got tired late on. 23s on the Betfair Exchange that day. He's hit 2.2 around 5 to 4 and running on that occasion. Made no mistake next time out in condition stakes at Salisbury. Hit 48 to 1 and running that day after being slowly away. BSP at 2.8 around 7 to 4. Won't want to be slowly away today, but absolutely love the conditions. Has course and distance form. Gets £3 off Hookham as well. So how we're going to play this one? We're going to have a straight win on Quick Form. See if we can get 4.5 around 7 to 2. We'll bet for 25, and then we'll bet this in the 2-place market as well for 25 as well. It's slightly odds on in the 3. We get 2 points. See if we can get 6 to 4 in the 2-place market as well. £25 stick.
4.5 you want, and you want 25 on.
Yep. The win in
we'll get that.
Yeah.
We'll get that, and then the 2-place market.
Yeah, 25 at 6 to 4 would be lovely.
You're not going to get 6 to 4, I'm afraid, but we'll get what we can. We've got 2.42 going for what will just about get us covered. Yeah,
Nice.
we've got matched at 2.42.
There's a
Cheers,
lot
Kev.
going on, isn't there? Okay, Marc Hryhorskyj then taking on Hookham. That penalty I thought might be a little bit sticky. He does go on this ground, Hookham, doesn't he?
Does the penalty is the thing here because borderline Group 1 horse, Dave. I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that.
Well, so, what you think he is a Group 1 horse?
No.
Well, come on. St Ledger looked like he was going to win it until he didn't
Yeah,
quite
because
stay.
he didn't stay in the Ledger. But
We're talking about
that was the St Ledger.
And now,
They talked about the Arc.
Your assistant would be going ahead. Well, they do this, by the way. I've walked past Zoom calls that they do with each other, right? They both wear glasses and things like this.
No, I don't.
And they talk about, well Rodway does, and they talk about the RPRs and they argue about this and who's right, and you can tell they really like it. But you would be having an argument right now because Graham Rodway thinks he's one of the bets of the weekend.
He does,
And
yeah.
he said he is a Group 1 horse. And I said to him yesterday in a feature show, is he? And he convinced me that he is a borderline. He was going to run in the Arc before defeat at Kempton. They're coming here. This is why Rodway's looking at this like the ball's big, you know. This is a race Hookham has to win.
I love him. I've always loved him. Respiratory noise reported last time. Tongue tie on. It depends what the respiratory. If he's gurgling or made a little bit of a whistle, that can be easily fixed, I'm sure. But
He's been wearing a tongue tie most of the year, to be fair.
yeah, and this has been a fine year for him.
Yeah, it has.
He's like a horse. This season, it's all come together a bit for him, hasn't it? It's come together. The jigsaw pieces have sort of got into. I agree.
You could argue he's kept away from
He's
the...
found his level, isn't it?
It was
What's happened.
disappointing.
He ran in the Hardwick. He ran really well in the Hardwick, actually, didn't he, when he was placed in that?
Yeah, I fancied him in the Hardwick. He was really weak in the betting, and I don't think he was either not
His
quite
last spin
fit.
at Ascot on similar ground, of course.
Yeah, and I think he's a horse that he does everything on the bridle.
So you're not tipping him?
No, I'm not
We're
tipping
getting
him.
this.
No,
I'm getting this.
I've got a lot. There's a lot going for you if you go against him, I think.
With?
Well, you could name a few, but the one I've nominated is Ilarab, who he came out of handicaps. He looked a really likeable sort of handicaps. He really put his head down.
6 on the bounce.
He won, yeah, exactly. And then he moved into group. He ran out the road in handicaps basically, and went into group races. And he'd run in the Hardwick, probably a bit too hard for him. He ran in the E-bar and wasn't that well placed in the E-bar from what I remember. And then he ran in the Solid Stone race, wasn't beaten far in the Art Trial. It's not an Art Trial. It isn't called the Art Trial anymore.
It's very confusing, that one.
This is easily the easiest race he's faced since he came out of handicaps.
I love it that we're calling races the Solid Stone races. Everyone will know how much I love that horse. They're now Solid
You
Stone.
do love that Solid Stone horse.
Love this
Yeah.
horse.
And Haggis love Ilarab.
He thinks he's best going left-handed. Is that something you're not... Whatever.
It matters less for flat horses, doesn't it?
It does, a lot less.
Yeah.
They love Ilarab at home, but he races. He's lazy. He can be lazy until.
I can believe that.
That's why he was able to win the 6 handicaps, I guess. All right, let's have a look at it. Quick Thorn, of course, Richard Austin Spotlight tip. Hugh Masson, great to have you back, Hugh. Says massively against title. Looks an absolute monkey. Hugh, we don't often disagree. This is going to be one of those moments.
Is
the
that
gallery
just
will
'cause
be
he's
enjoying
got-
this because they know that I've tipped this, and that's why they're going for
Yeah,
it.
but I think Title's
He's been
got-
gelded.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think people are against him because of that ridiculously high head carriage, but the ability.
was ridiculous.
The ability is all there with
Oh, yeah.
Title.
Love a high head carriage. I love to laugh at it.
What do we call it? A funky
Yeah,
head
a
carriage?
funky.
Would it
I
make a
call it,
Luxembourg's head carriage then?
That was quite, oh yeah.
And his
Beresford.
tail,
Woo.
Luxembourg, head and tail. It was like
He's a
No, that's
flighty
a
one, isn't he?
screaming Epsom to me, that. Horse that carries its head up here and it's still on it. Oh, yeah, Epsom for him. Absolutely, lads. Let's get him
He's the
round there.
3-year-old title. I like him. He'll go on the
I
ground, no
do.
problems. 3-year-olds move up. Last one is a 3-year-old in 2016. They don't fare quite so well. But I like that. Yeah, I don't know what price is he now.
Good 3-year-olds will never land in this race. A good 3-year-old will have better things on its mind.
Yeah.
He
than this.
has disappointed them, even though when he won well at Yarmouth on what was a good day for novice races that day, prepping for Royal Ascot. He didn't really turn up at Royal Ascot. He still looked a little bit like, and then it was the run after that where everyone's like, ugh. And they gelded him, and he really did look the part. He beat a lesser field than this, no doubt. It was a handicap, but he is a group horse, there's no doubt.
Yeah, he's a group horse, definitely.
Yeah. So I like the fact he's getting weight he'll do for me, Nat.
I cannot split Hookham and Quickthorn. I cannot. I said that before. My head is all over the show. I've always supported Hookham. I think that he's...
Ebor winner, Quickthorn,
he's
back at the scene of his
absolutely
Royal
fast, but
Ascot.
He didn't win the Ebor. He finished second to the horse that won the Irish.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it was Sonny Boy Liston, wasn't it?
no,
He won Did you see his performance
Royal
last time
Ascot
at
winner,
Salisbury, by the way,
Quickthorn.
Quickthorn?
Oh, he went all over the place, didn't he?
It was the start, wasn't it?
15 lengths down the chute.
But it was,
Quickthorn.
although, a bit of a clue for you there, the top speed is 65 pounds below the Racing Post rating, so they've crawled.
He rather fell
Yeah,
in the
no,
hole
fair,
as well.
fair.
You know, I could chat to him for 10 seconds before he sets off and he wouldn't lose much ground.
What happened with Quickthorn last time is because they crawled, he could then get to them.
Yes,
and then it wasn't a
absolutely.
huge effort to get to them at Salisbury. Yes, there was 15 lengths lost at the chute, but actually it was fine because they crawled so he could get to them and then he didn't have to exert too much. I mean, it was remarkable viewing, wasn't it? But I just thought, his early form at Haydock in May and Ascot in June, I still think he's got an absolute fine chance in this.
We're less than 20 minutes away from Group 1 time here domestically. It is Newmarket's Sun Chariot coming up. Get the name right, Dave Orton. And of course, Quickthorn didn't win the Ebor, was beaten by a Nats in that, wasn't he? By Sonny Boy Liston, of course.
Who's
And
since
I just
won
had
the
those winning.
Irish
He won at Royal Ascot, of course. So they're the tips. You've got them. Illarad for Keith, which is interesting. Mark
Covered
taking
most
on the
of them.
Fab. Oh, none of us have tipped Hookham. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, I can't
You've
split.
got
I
him as
can't
a split staker.
I can't come on this show.
Even money
Even
paired a couple.
love Hookham and then say I don't love him because I do love him.
We've got the Sun Chariot coming up at 2:55. That'll be our next port of call. Really strong betting race that Marc Hryhorskyj will tell us about that. And then we've got a couple of interviews for you on the show. Yes, absolutely, with Charlie Appleby. And I want to know what wins the Arc. Okay, I want to know tomorrow what wins the 305, the big one. Anything else of the weekend? What are you looking forward to most tomorrow? Is it Adayar? Are you with Snowfall, giving her another chance? Is it, of course, Hurricane Lane? What some people perceive the second string. Not on this show, I can tell you that much. Or is it Tanawa? That's St Mark's Basilica form. Are you going for Chronogenesis? It's a deep, deep arc. We'll be getting some interviews. We'll be getting some social interaction out there with you. You make the show. You know that. Good luck wherever you're playing in this. It's an absolute treat, this, isn't it? The Cumberland
Lodge. Yeah,
it's going to be fascinating.
To say that, you have so many races like this, the sort of lesser group races for middle distance horses, and you think, the same bloody horses every time.
There were 3 in it last year.
No, but it's actually, there's quite a fresh group here. Quickthorn's quite a fresh horse at this level. Illarab's still quite new to it all. Hookham's only 4 himself. And you've got Title as well. So it's a much fresher race than we're used to with this type of race. So it is very interesting. It might tell us something for next year. It'll definitely tell us something for next autumn when the ground's next this bad.
And I'll tell you what, we're going to learn a lot about Title here, aren't we, as well?
Yeah.
He beats, it was a handicap last time and he hosed up, but you got a feeling he's going to have to work at some point here, the newly gelded Title. So it'll be a very interesting in-running race.
Hookham's very strong here, David, the bank. They're queuing up to back this one. It's around 9 to 4. Wells Fargo has just got smashed in late as well. This one was 40s on the sportsbook yesterday. He's trading 20s on the exchange.
Is he the pace
I can't
angle?
have it.
He is the
Yeah.
pace
The
angle.
pace angle tends to come in at the end on Betfair, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't have it. Maybe it's a potential back to lay here. I mean, it was as short as 16 to 1 a couple of minutes ago. It's back out to around 20s. But Quickthorn not really moved, around 4.5. 7 to 2.
Thanks, Mark. They're off and running then in the Cumberland Lodge. As you heard from us say, we think this is something exciting. Logician, of course, bombed in this last year when they ran it at Doncaster in that rearranged flat season. Competitive stuff it is. And interestingly, it's Quickthorn and young Kieran Fallon who's gone to the front.
I didn't think Quickthorn would be quite
We've
there.
got him down as a front runner. He's back from mile 6, of course.
Well, that's right. He's got a strong stayer, and the best way to turn a race into a bit of a test is to set the fractions yourself.
And the other thing to say is he loves stalls because he got a flag start last time at Salisbury. He hated it, didn't he? He won't be jumping for Huey then. I think we can say that.
No, that's probably fair enough. Well, we've got those colours. They've got a nutty jumper in those colours, haven't they? Already, not so sleepy.
They're not hanging around, Keith, because Illarab's right out the back and he's about 12 lengths off.
Quickthorn is the fact that Quickthorn's gone to the front tells you that they're not going to dawdle because Quickthorn is there to make sure it's a decent enough test. He'll probably settle it up at the bottom of Swinley Bottom.
Title's still got his head high, but actually it looks pretty set. Looks pretty settled. I mean,
This will be run to suit him. The fact that they're...
Can't spot them in running here, Dave. 15.8 the pair here, 2.86, 2-1 Hookham. Everything else is on the drift.
Okay, because he's perfectly placed Hookham, isn't he? If you're I was going to say, Keith, if you're 4 ahead of Wells Fargo, who doesn't look like he's enjoying being headed, you're going fast enough, aren't you?
No, that's it. And they've sort of made that Wells Fargo into a bit of a horse like that because they give him his head and let him blast off most of the time. And guess what happens when you try and hold him? He doesn't like it.
He doesn't
I've got a funny feeling we're going to see him go.
Might do, you know.
He's a 6-year-old.
They do like that horse, don't they? They liked him as a... They thought he was going to win the Ledger and stuff
Ledger,
like that,
that was it. All right, so Quickthorn leads up from a very interesting horse called Alenak on the far side. Him and Alunak.
Oh, Rudders loves that
I know, it's
confusion,
quite
doesn't
Got
he?
that out
isn't it?
somehow. It is rather confusing. One's a grey, however. They both ran at Chester last time in the Wells Fargo race. So this Chester form, we're going to see. Invite is an interesting horse if one of these prevails for the mare's race. They're turning
kicked
in,
off the bend here.
Quickthorn is
6 to
trying
4
to
and
do that.
running.
Look at Title out the back and Illarab. They're not panicking.
Illarab's got no chance.
Great
No,
Alenak
it's
is looking in.
way too Illarab.
Hookham is
Go from
surely
there.
going low, isn't he? Oh my goodness, yeah, okay, he's odds on now.
Odds on.
He's
Who's
got
on?
absolutely odds on. And Title, have they given him too much rope? The penalty will kick in. Tell you what, Title, he's a very, very talented horse, but this is cream
Nothing else is handling
the
it, really.
pacemakers have
Here comes Eagles by Day running a bit.
Illarab's
My
coming.
Day's running a
But
cracking
it's going to be
race. He was
too
a-
late, isn't it? Wells Fargo's fallen
Come
out.
on,
Quickthorn
boyo.
not good enough. He's drifted to the far side, but this was a penalty kick, said Graham Rodway. If you listen to him in the Sizzlers, one of the bets of the weekend, go and collect. Get it ready, says Rodway. This is absolutely hosed up. Penalty? What penalty?
It's just
Eagles by
class.
day second.
Love him.
Illarab just third from Title and Quickthorn as well. Title flattered to deceive, didn't he there? Back to the drawing board with him. Cream did rise.
Oh, he's awesome. I love Hookham, but
He come back with a vengeance, though,
Eagles
haven't
by day though. Cross, that's a big race.
He has. I mean, it's a horse that I've fancied a
Seriously,
lot.
what price? Like
He's 40 to 1 earlier.
Yeah, he's went off a huge, but 100 to 1 on BSP there. On a massive race, Eagles by day.
Well, I don't
massive
know what the
race.
plan's been with him this season because I thought they were going to. I thought he was a horse at the start of the season. I thought they're going to get this lined up for the Ebor, and he ran in the Ebor. He was well done field, but he's obviously. But I just didn't know what they were doing with him.
yeah, he was
And
like
he's won very well there.
16 of 20 in the but
Yeah.
that's a horse that maybe I'm going to take out. I'm going to put in my notes Eagles by day because that was.
What's the plan with him? What are they going to do with him?
I don't know.
Well,
where would
I
you?
was going to ask you about the winner. Let's go to Mark first, though, because we said Mark turning in. He went odds on. When did he go really low?
It was a strange bend, Mark. The two of them at the top of the bend, they couldn't decide. But as soon as Quickthorn went under pressure coming around the bend, Jim Crowley's on the absolute snuff. As soon as he came upside, he was immediately 1.5, and that was it. It was all over. Eagles by day actually hit 12 to 1 in running there, BSP of 100, so that's definitely one for the notebook. But Hookham, very, very impressive. No excuses for Quickthorn, just beaten by a better horse on the day.
I've got a feeling we're going to see a career best figure here for
Hookham.
For Hookham.
What, it's 1.01 you'll see a career best figure
Right.
on this from Hookham.
Of course, Mirando, who also carried a penalty to success in this, not the last year, the year before, but it was actually last year it was when at Ascot, got 119. That's a big figure, if that sounds like, for Mirando. So he's got 117.
Mirando did it. It was soft ground again when Mirando won it, didn't it? It would have been. And you'll find you get figures that just don't get
Now,
repeated in soft.
aha, now this is where I'm going with this. This is where we need Keith here, of course, for the RPRs. I'm going to suggest that race has fallen apart in behind.
Yes.
And are we looking at a red herring performance, or is Hookham going to nick a Grade 1?
No. But it's clearly a career best, and it deserves to be a career best. If you're a handicapper handicapping this race, you know that the pitfall you can fall into is rating that race literally, and you'll get 124, 125, and that's too high.
It is too high, yeah, but he has always promised to be a Group 1 horse, hasn't he? And if Rodway was here now, this is something we should try and set up, viewers, isn't it?
Give him a ring.
Yeah. Get him on the phone.
You're doing a show later, aren't
I
you?
think
Yeah, go, right,
I
see
think
something.
it's absolutely possible. He's a powerhouse.
Come on,
gait.
it's hooking it up.
The way he moves on soft ground is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Too much
Still got
rationale coming
speed.
from the quizmaster, yeah?
And the respiratory noise, who knows, they can tinker with him. That's only going to improve him.
You called yourself an insufferable rationalist earlier.
Yes.
You've just proven yourself to be one.
I have.
Oh,
I think the race...
Marvellous
No
things.
insufferable about you.
I call myself it now, so don't worry.
Trust me, it really is.
No
It's me, my mum.
insufferable about you.
No, I think what they would do with Hookham, now he's shown how well he handled the soft ground there, I'd be aiming at some of those German group ones. You might pick up one of them.
Yeah. And if they do tinker with him, now, look,
We could talk about Hookham all day long, but it is Group 1 time. You'll be delighted to hear here on RP Live this afternoon with Betfair Exchange, our sponsors. Along the way, there is the exchange market. What price will she go? She was second favourite yesterday, Mother Earth, Marc Hryhorskyj. They've come for her.
Yeah, she's very popular, 3.85 on the Betfair Exchange right now, around just nearly hitting around 11-4. I actually want to take on the horse at the top of the market here. So I want a Dutch 2 in the race against Mother Earth and Snow Lantern. I'm actually with Richard Fahey's Fev Rover. That's the first one. I think she was a big eye catch for me last time out in the Leopardstown Clippers Logistics Boomerang Mile Group 2. For me, I think she was given too much to do. It was wide all the way around. The winner, Real Appeal, won. Got a ground saving run on the inside and got first run on Fev Rover. I think she'll improve for that run. She'll be fresher than most today. She also has form linked to Mother Earth in the 1,000 Guineas. She's a length and a quarter behind that day. Keen throughout, finished third. The ground shouldn't be an issue either. Back racing against her own sex. Spencer booked. A lot of positives for me. She was bigger this morning. She's about 22. She's 16, 15 to 1 right now. I think that's a fair price. And just on the sportsbook as well, the Champers Elise and Tahil, they were around 33s, 22s on the sportsbook earlier. They're being very popular and they're short on the exchange as well. But my second selection I actually wanted to Dutch was actually Just Beautiful of Ivan Hurtado. So that's actually a non-runner now. So I'm happy for someone in the studio if you want to Dutch these, and we'll split the stakes out accordingly depending on which one you want to go for. I'll take responsibility for it as well.
My tip's a biggie in this race, so can I put my hand up?
Yeah.
Of course you can, yeah.
Especially given with the ground being quite soft now. Epona Plays on soft ground was the one I was looking at. And can I back her, Mark, and then talk? Or do I need to convince you first?
We'll do. We'll have 30 on Fev Rover, and you have a score on your one as well to split it out. We get the same back, all right?
Okay, sure. So that's it. They're both on. So Epona Plays did not get matched, but I surely will.
It wasn't me.
My big prize, I can't pronounce it. Primo.
That'll come in a second.
Bacchio?
Forgot she was in
Bacchio, yeah.
Bacchio.
Yeah. So if we Dutch, is that the trade on?
The traders, hold on, I'll just keep refreshing.
Two horses in the race, viewers out there, for those of you that want to get involved with the charity bets and what Marc Hryhorskyj's doing. He's going to get one over the line soon, isn't he, you feel? Fev Rover and Epona Plays. Now, before you go into this, Fev Rover, Ross Brady quite likes her a little bit as well, doesn't he? Ross sort of bet this is our dear friend Ross. He'll be back on the show soon, don't you worry about that. Spencer, 2 rides so far at Newmarket. We've seen one of them already on the show. He took out the opener as well. This wouldn't be the sort of Spencer ride that necessarily, when she was a top 2-year-old, she had a bit of grit about her, didn't she? Showed real good tenacity. You know what he's going to do from Stall 1, don't you?
Oh, yes, you do, yeah.
You know what he's going to do. I mean, he's on a hat trick from just the 3 rides. This has got Jamie all over it.
And he's nipped up the inside.
So exciting to see what he's going to do on February, guys.
Fair.
All right, so let's get the tips out of the way. Epona Plays. Now, she was an eye catcher, wasn't she, behind No Speak Alexandra in the Matron, where Mother Earth, lots been said about that. And will continue to be said about that in the next week, that ride. She should have won that race, obviously, Mother Earth. But Epona Plays, on ground that was lively enough, did catch the eye.
She did. She looked like she wanted a stronger run mile to me, or definitely a greater test of stamina, which she will hopefully get at Newmarket. 2 starts before that, she'd run it in a Group 2 at the Curragh, won it by half the track on soft, heavy ground. You just saw the way she went through the line. She revelled in the conditions there. So I'm glad to see that the rain's come like it has. As I say, she caught the eye a bit in the Matron Stakes last time. In between, she probably didn't stay 10, although she's bred to stay 10. And she's only, on her Curragh run, she's only £3 or £4 off the standard required. So 20 to 1 is a mad price to me. And we're getting more than that on the exchange. I just thought she was... This morning, or certainly last night, I thought the market for this race was it was boringly right. And I thought I couldn't see much juice in any. I thought everything was about its price. But Epona Plays looked to be far too big to me, so I put her up.
I put up Mother Earth yesterday, won a 7-2 shot, and I backed her at 7-2 as well. And I was told first thing when I got up this morning, did you get any of that 7-2? And Snow Lantern was, of course, favourite. Snow Lantern's been really weak. Bloods were wrong, pretty much, when she came back from that Baïd run in France last time. But the 2 times she's run against Mother Earth, she's beaten her, or finished ahead of her, that's for sure. In the Falmouth, which she won, that was her Group 1, and also on bad ground at Royal Ascot. I'm a little bit surprised that Snow Lantern's as big as she is. I thought this was an easy one yesterday. Rob Way's banker of the day, he's just got Hookham over the line. We should say is Saffron Beach.
Yeah,
Saffron Beach is so hard to knock in this.
Me
She
too.
is,
I'm Saffron Beach.
You are?
Yeah, 100%.
The link is
100%. It's excellent form at Newmarket. Sandown back to her ways. I mean, soft ground's not a problem. I'm completely ignoring the Falmouth. I'm not going to look at that really. The other Newmarket form has been fantastic. I'm just so warm on her, excellent record and confidence from the last time. And yeah, she
loves the track. She loves soft ground.
One of my better tips of the day, actually, Saffron Beach.
Problem is, right, because a value pick, I can get that. I just don't, unless Mother Earth goes over the top, and I think that's the only reason why she won't go very close to repeating her classic win in this.
Mother Earth never really does anything wrong, does she?
Speaking to Aidan in the week,
consistent.
she is a bit of a freak, I think. She has surprised him, I think, by how she's just kept her form all the way. She's got everything.
She's unbelievable.
You can tell by what she's done that she's surprised them, the way she's been campaigned. She wasn't campaigned like one of their good ones.
We're going to go to Australia with her for the Everest.
Surprise them. I mean,
absolutely.
She just doesn't do anything wrong. She's absolutely incredible.
Isn't it amazing how a classic winner was almost going to play second fiddle to the horse that was supposed to beat her, according to the market, the now sadly ill-fated Santa Barbara? Because even though, you don't send a classic winner for the Everest, the 6 furlong sprint in Australia. They've sent her to France a lot. They've run her a lot, haven't they?
Well,
I know that they can get more juice out of fillies. But
absolute opposite end of the scale from what we're talking about with Fearby, wasn't it? They've got really good horses that they can just chance. She's not lighting it up at home, so we'll send her to Australia. We'll try this, we'll try that. But Mother Earth has surprised them. Remember, they only ran 2 in the Guineas, didn't they, this year? They only ran Mother Earth and Santa Barbara. And
there's a lot of agreement for you out there in chat world, I can see, by the way. We're trying to get some socials built up, but I can see...
She's so admirable, Mother Earth.
I think Francis, I can see, is agreeing.
Isn't that why she's favourite? Isn't it because people are going, well...
She should have been favourite for this. I'm amazed
Snow Lantern's a better horse, isn't she?
You what, sorry?
Snow Lantern's a better horse.
Yeah, you can forgive...
she comes off a luckless... I mean, no jockey is going to be trying harder in the finish here than Shane Foley, is he?
Yeah.
On No Speak Alexander. Who, if you watch that back, you've got time. They're still only at the 6 furlong pole, Saffron Beach, at the moment as the weight going down the way.
Mother Earth was unlucky last time, but I don't think it changes that Snow Lantern's a better filly.
I'm not totally convinced that's the case.
Because the Snow Lantern... Mother Earth runs to her...
I know the form does say that, you rationalist, you, but...
Mother Earth runs to her best. She wins that by half a length. She's not run to end. She's not got a PB there. That is up to her Guineas form.
I was surprised that Snow Lantern finished ahead of her in the Coronation Stakes on that bad ground. And what I like about Snow Lantern is once she settles, she's going to be even better. And I hope they keep her in training at 4.
I hope they keep her in training.
Because she might just settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do worry, as she's weak, Mark, isn't she, Snow Lantern?
Yeah, she's been very weak. She's currently 5-1. She might even not go second favourite here. There's a lot of money for Saffron Beach. An interesting mover here is Lavender's Blue for Amanda Perrott. Actually finished, I think it was 4th in this race, 2019, behind Bilston Brook. A wee bit concerned with the ground here. Probably not as, wouldn't want it as soft, but it's definitely shortening up. It's around 20s, 25s. It's 14s, about 13-1 on Betfair right now. Fev over slightly on the drift. No Speak Alexander's quite weak as well. That's 14.5. A bit of money for Keith's selection there. Epona Plays as well. That was obviously as big as 27s. That's in at 20-1 now. But I don't think the punters can make their mind up here. I do think Lavender's Blue is an interesting one here. They're still coming for that 12-1 now.
It's funny because I had a little note for No Speak Alexander, but maybe it's because watching No Speak Alexander go down to the start didn't look very pleasing.
She's tiddler,
Sky Lantern won this, of course, didn't she? I'm seeing that in the chat, Frizzy. Don't worry about it.
Inspiring at all.
Of course, she's sort of following her dam's pattern, isn't she, Snow Lantern? Of course, she's
I like
obviously the Falmouth. She avenged that unlucky defeat or whatever. Lavender's Blue is interesting. 5-year-old.
She's the only 5-year-old in the race, and she comes in here off a PB.
Does she want? Yes, she does.
And
she broke Ben Battle, didn't she? Of course. In the
she beat Ben Battle on his first run back.
And we look on form, good to firm, but we don't. You don't always have to just go on that. She could be absolutely fine on
Tell me about
12.
Primo Baccio.
Could be absolutely
Oisin
fine.
Murphy jumping aboard.
Yeah, I was just reading. There's been a little bit of tips around for this. The horse I can't say, Primo Baccio. Last time it's disappointing, but I mean, prior to that, look at the form. I mean, not far away at all in Group 1s. Like,
I've spoken to Ed Walker about this filly.
has ran in serious.
Does he like her?
It was the
Yeah,
first
what did he-
supplementary entry that Ed Walker had. He does like her. Yeah. It was the first. Of course, he likes her. It was the first supplementary entry Ed had ever made. 15 grand. And
Right.
of course, she finished last but one because the ground had gone. And had he waited a little bit later, he would have been able to have better targets in Doncaster, for example. That's just he has been chasing the weather with her. And if you read his quote in the paper today, it is hopefully they don't get too much rain.
Yeah, so that's not.
But Oisin is a big steer for this, right? Obviously, he's got big association with the yard, but yeah, okay.
With something, you look at Murphy in a race like this, you've got to look at what else he could have ridden, and the answer is probably nothing. So you can probably take that as a neutral.
Yeah. Yeah, because, what else would he?
Yeah, exactly.
What else
He wasn't going to get the ride on Mother Earth, was he?
No.
So what else
certainly
was he
not.
going to be on, really?
Okay, so you've got our tips, then. I think the Fab. I hope she does win this. I love her. And of course, Frankie Dettori rode her to win when second string, according to the market, anyway, in the Guineas, and she's just held her form supremely well since.
She's been extremely likeable, hasn't she?
Yes, exactly. She's got so much of a snowfall about her, hasn't she? After this, guys, we're going to give you a bit of Charlie Appleby insight into the two biggies, Hurricane Lane and Adyar Hurricane Lane, whichever way you look at it. And then we're going to talk a bit about the Arc as well. So get them in. Where are these Arc tips? It's around. It'll be this time tomorrow. We'll be buzzing for it, won't we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even this Arc has got you excited.
Oh, the Arc always gets me excited. I was excited about last year's Arc and it was rubbish.
And this is a good arc.
100th
This is a
Arc.
good arc.
The centenary.
It is a 100th Arc, so if it's a 100th one, they'd have to climb Alpe d'Huez twice, like they did with the Tour de France. They did some ridiculous route when they had the 100th Tour de France. They had to,
They should have, I don't know, hopefully, I don't know, they should have done what they did with the Melbourne Cup, shouldn't they? Project it onto the Eiffel Tower and all that sort of thing. And
not sure that's the French way.
oh, actually, they have done something with the Arc de Triomphe, haven't they? They've covered it up. They're going to, so we will hopefully, you'll see that tomorrow.
Was that because of this?
They've covered it up, for this.
Was it? Right.
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
don't
I
know
think
what the artist
we don't
has
know
done.
We
but
don't know, yeah.
No, it's been
Quite
covered
exciting. I think we're a little bit delayed because Saffron Beach has sort of been
Indeed, yeah.
I mean, they've been behind the bridle since the
Retacked.
first race there, come on.
saddles and girths been redone.
I don't want to get too political, Keith, but these race times, someone's going to have someone needs to get a grip of
The
this.
thing is, it's certain tracks as well, isn't it? It's not something that I don't come across terribly often because I watch less live racing than some, but...
What, you watch less in Ireland?
But no, but the Newmarket is one of the worst tracks.
We're becoming a bit like France and America, unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, Andy Sim, great to have you back, Andy. Mother Earth just wins, with you all the way on that. And the commander says, I think the top two may be tired after a lot of racing. That is the worry.
It is.
That is the worry.
Such a good point. It's a very, very strong point. It's a busy campaign. Also, just to mention, this time of year, you'll all notice it. I came in a scarf today, but honestly, when horses' coats start to turn, which is now, there can be a change. Some can just go a little bit off sorts. It's coming to the end of the season, and when the weather comes, and don't forget, it is getting cold at night, and it's a horrible time of year to actually rug horses up because you put a rug on in the day and they're too hot, and then at night time you don't have to rug them up, and you can see their coats going.
He's won this 3 times, Aidan O'Brien. Most recently with Roly Poly back in 2017. Since then, Ballydoyle, because Andre Fabre bought a very good horse over here, they have had some battleships sunk in this race. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. We have seen some very, very good horses turned over in recent years in this. They just
the time of year. It's just the time of year as well.
I mean, look at some of these horses that have won this race. You've got horses. The last 3 winners are Lawrence, Billiston Brook, and Nazif. Now they were all bomb-proof. They were all really tough fillies and mares. Nazif because she didn't do much in her races. She was a sprinter and a pouncer. So she kept a bit for herself a little bit. She didn't have hard races. But Billiston Brook, she was hard as nails. Lawrence was hard as nails.
Oh, Lawrence was tough.
So, they're the sort of horses that win this
race. They're off and running, guys. Okay, we've got a split screen in here. We are listening to you guys as well. They are racing in Longchamp as well. Maybe Newmarket have got that on their mind. We're a bit kinder over here, aren't we? But we have got groups. And opponent plays, Keith Melrose, has made her way to the front down the centre.
And the centre group, yeah, that's a very interesting play there. We'll have to see how it pans out. But she has just gone... Yeah, the two groups are about equal size, aren't they? And Epona Plays is leading the one down the centre of the track.
Yep, Shale is up there, a horse again that just hasn't turned up this year. Dream Loper, there's a bit of love from some Shrudies back. Ed Walker's other horse out the back. Let's have a look then. Where's Mother Earth? Okay, she's just covered up quite nicely at the moment, isn't she? Where's Skylander? No Speak Alexander. I don't think they're going to be coming close together this time. They're in two groups, and it just looks like the far side might be holding sway. Saffron's up there. Look at Primo Baccio cruising. Epona Plays still on the bridle there. Sky Lantern then being finessed into it at the moment by
Spencer.
Sean Levy. Oh,
Spencer,
not Spencer. You're kidding me. On Fev Rover. Okay, they're coming close together. They're going for it now. Mother Earth not off the bridle yet. Tahali's there. Champs-Élysées. Here, come on, Mother Earth. Now she's going down the centre. They're riding up. Ryan's sensing it. Old rival. No Speak Alexander and Saffron Beach on the far side. Keith Melrose, you're not going anywhere.
No.
Epona Plays is there. Fev Rover just winding up a bit too late. She's a little bit flat, Mother Earth. Saffron Beach on the far side. Could this be the beach that turns up? Mother Earth coming back. What a tough finish she is. But on the far side, made pretty much all. Saffron Beach gets revenge. Mother Earth maybe just second from Dream Loper. Epona Plays gave Keith Melrose and his fans a huge run down the middle. Jane Chapel-Hyam. Let's pick the bones out of this from the panel. Once we go to Marc Hryhorskyj, tell us the story. Was there any carnage?
Not really. It looked all over at the furlong pole. Ours, it was Jamie Spencer came there. As soon as he pushed the button, it looked quite flat-footed. It was never going to get there. Mother Earth went even money for £30 and nothing crazy. Massive run from Dream Loper as well. 42.9 BSP. I'll find out what price that one's went. And that one's definitely one for the notebook. And that one's traded 14s in the run. But yeah, probably say it looked all over at the furlong pole. Saffron Beach done it really, really well. Definitely handled the conditions.
Split screen.
And even money.
One split screen.
Mother Earth, even money, yeah. I was quite surprised at that as well.
You do if you're RTV, but a split screen. We were watching RTV because, of course, quicker with the feed and all that sort of stuff. But the split, that was quite difficult to see, wasn't it? You've got a lot of stick with the jumps race doing that, haven't they?
Quite
Not
difficult.
great, is it?
It was very, very difficult.
Shouldn't have had Redcar off then at the same time, should we?
Well,
they were late at Newmarket, we should say that.
Yeah,
that's not ideal, is it?
No, they should have waited a Redcar, but it's Newmarket's fault, really, isn't it, for going off as late as they do? The track sets it, but the track's been the same for 400 years, so they know how they need to. They know how they need to get races off on time, don't they?
That's kind of true.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm actually just talking to our news desk as well, saying, "Come on, let's get some split screen." There's a lot of moans about that going out there. What do you think about that? Okay, we're going to draw breath here. Mother Earth, second, runner race. Oh, how did she go 30s? I don't know. She hit that flat spot, but Saffron Beach, well done if you get the pay. Graham Robbe, what an afternoon he's having. What an afternoon Natalie Green is having as well.
I'm back. I am back.
She's back, baby. What an afternoon tomorrow Charlie Appleby could have with Adyar and Hurricane Lane. Let's hear from the great man.
Yeah, delighted with the way he's come out of his gallop this morning, in preparation to the Arc now. More importantly is how he came out of St Ledger. That's for me. That was the key part to his participation into the Arc. Physically, he just showed his wellness after St Ledger. Probably, if anything, better than his previous two starts, being in the Irish Derby and the Grand Prix de Paris. So. He's done his first bit of work back from the St Ledger there on last Saturday. Again, easy work. Very pleased with it. Did a bit of stronger stuff this week, and shows all the right signs. And he's exciting. Firstly, to be participating in the 100th run of the Arc, but more importantly, he could create history himself there, being the first horse to win the St Ledger and then go on to win an Arc. Everything's there. I say everything's there to suit him. Ground, obviously, as we know, looks as though it's going to be a wet forecast this weekend, and that will play into his strengths. Firstly, he loves the soft ground, and secondly, if it comes to a war of attrition towards the finish there, there's one thing this horse will do: he won't lie down. And we've seen him win over the mile and 6 there in the St Ledger, so he'll be doing it all right at the business end, as they say.
you go, Betfair getting the scoop there from, I tell you what a cool customer he looks there, Hurricane Lane. He was loving that, wasn't he? A bit of interaction with the feed and all that sort of thing.
With the
cool,
feed.
collected.
I was surprised Charlie had his fingers left.
Exactly, absolutely right. I'd be like,
He was being a little bit mischievous, but that's good.
I love Hurricane Lane. Is there anyone out there who doesn't just love Hurricane Lane?
I think he's one of the best looking horses.
Does he win the Arc?
Yeah.
I think he does.
Yeah.
I think he wins the Arc.
Yeah.
As soon as the draw came out, it was enough to convince me he's low, of course.
Well, the thing that the draw, I was like, yeah, great, stalled 2. But then I think the one thing with Hurricane Lane is that he has got a good turn of foot for a 1.5 mile horse. He's not a plodder like some Ledger winners, but he takes a few strides, a bit like Altior or something like that, just for the turbo to kick in.
Yeah.
In an Arc, man, that's going to be nervous moments.
Yeah.
But it's such a minor quibble. And I do love this horse.
3 big ticks for Hurricane Lane, right?
Yeah, well, when I was at the Ledger, I'm so sorry I can't remember the representative, Charlie Appleby. I feel embarrassed, I don't know. Because I was like, God, this horse is just gorgeous. And honestly, he said, do you know what? He really, really reminds me of Franklin in so many ways. Different colour, because chestnut, but the neck, the shoulder, but he's
Not gassy like
he's
him,
my
though, is he?
favourite, best looking flat horse.
Yeah, and
in
so
training.
Nijinsky tried in 1970, of course, to do the St Ledger. Never been done, has it,
Nope.
the St Ledger Arc? But this guy, when he won the Irish Derby, they backed him up quickly in France, didn't they? He can take it. And Charlie it's just the man, isn't it?
Ledger weekend is the same weekend as Arc Trials weekend. So I don't know what the issue is here.
Well, last one to go close was Urban. No, oh goodness, what
Kingston
was
Hill ran well in the Ledger,
Kingston
didn't he?
Hill was fourth, the winner of it.
Yeah, he ran well in the Arc. The reason Ledger winners don't win the Arc is because they're generally not very good. Certainly not compared to Arc winners.
All right.
You know, the Ledger, Hurricane Lane's the best horse that's run in the Ledger for at least a decade.
Yeah, and he showed
won
that,
like it, didn't he?
in the Ledger because he won the Ledger like it was a...
Yeah, okay,
it was
all
like
right.
It wasn't even a Ledger, wasn't
He's
it?
the
We
best-
will be
best horse on the
hearing
Ledger
from.
for
We could
years.
go on and on about this, guys. We're sure you guys are causing debate out there as well. I bet the chat's flying up as well. We'll get you 1, 2, 3 for the Arc. We'll have a bit of time, but we've got to go to Ascot. It is the Bengough Stakes. It's the 3:15. It's a classic sprint. This. And we'll get the picks in a minute. We'll be going to Charlie again after this race to hear about. They've got a Derby winner in the race as well, of course. It is Adayar, the pick of William Buick. He had the choice quickly onto him as well. Cannot wait for that. So, do the boys in blue win? Does it go to Barley Doyle? Does it go to Japan? Does it go to Dermot Weld and the Aga Khan? Or is a roughie going to win, as can often be the case on soft ground, testing ground at
I
Longshot?
think Buick's choice there is that how can you jump off Adayar?
Yeah, a Derby winner, I agree.
It's a thing. I would, in his position, even though the rationalist in me might say otherwise, it's hard to do. It's hard to not ride Adayar.
Bit of a nightmare, Hurricane Lane turning up for Will Buick, isn't it?
He
Really?
was probably trying to talk them into going to the Breeders' Cup Turf or something instead.
Which we all would have applauded. All right, so what a treat. This time tomorrow, the Arc winner will be passing the post. Wow, 24 less than to go. Brilliant stuff. All right, who wins the Bengough? Let's go out and see what Marc Hryhorskyj thinks. Marc Hryhorskyj, who wins the Arc as well?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very good race. I think it's very difficult to split the 4, but I'm with Snowfall. I think you can I think she'll improve for that run last time. I know she was turned over at heavy odds on, but I'm willing to give her another chance. Bet for Ambassador Ryan Moore on board, but as I say, you can make cases for all 4 at the top of the bet. It's a top race.
Okay, talking about ambassadors, no great ambassador in the Bengough. We'll talk about Snowfall a little bit later on as well. I think she's definitely got a big chance as well. What wins the Bengough then, Mark? What's the trade going to be?
I think this is quite tricky, but I want to use the Placely facility here. I want to Placely Bielsa here to showcase the Betfair Exchange capabilities. Done it well last time out, just 2 weeks ago in the Ergo Cup. Had the Golden Highway on the stands rail, raced alone. That was on better ground. Was entitled to be competitive of 98 that day. This is much more competitive, and I can't see getting an uncontested lead here. The likes of Archie Watson's Glen Shiel in this race. I think his best form's on better ground. It's likely the Ergo Cup was a career highlight for me rather than a springboard to pattern races. Looking at the prices, I think he's far too short. He was a nose behind Punchbowl Flyer. Haydock and good to soft ground. Punchbowl Flyer was actually, and that's another one, that was 33 to 1 on the sportsbook the other day. It's 20 to 1 on the Betfair Exchange right now. There's money for that one, but at the prices, I'm willing to take on Bielsa in the place market. So I'm just looking at the prices just now. What price is this one in the 3 place market? Because I think we could get this out the 4. We'll go for the 4. We'll bet £50 at even money. We'll go for that.
Right, £50 at even money in the 4. Well, we'll get
Yeah,
what
we'll
we
lay
can.
that one, yeah.
A complete bomb out from Bielsa then.
Yeah, it's just the ground, and I think it's a bit of an overreaction in the price. Too short for me.
I'm a Watford fan, and Bielsa, we're up against Bielsa today, so I'm hoping you're right on both accounts there. So Bielsa, I'll tell you what, the Ryan camp might be. Adam Ryan might like to hear that. He finally got his day in the sun, didn't he? And they've always thought he wants some cut in the ground. He's yet to prove himself as a proper Ascot horse, but they thought he might be in last year's Wokingham, that funny Wokingham we had with them when it was A. Jonesy. Bielsa, I said to Ross Briley, I think he'll confirm that Air Gold Cup form with Great Ambassador. He doesn't run, obviously. No. What do we do with Bielsa? Do we think Mark's right, or...?
It's ballsy to do 4th place.
It's ballsy is absolutely right. This is the drone pilot we're on about.
Do me the big bucks. We'll see what Natalie has to, because she always does really well when I'm on. She's going through the car.
I really do. God, we're going to work together more often. It's a shame Great Ambassador's out, actually. I can see there's been plenty of tips I've been reading here, there, everywhere about Glen Shield, but oh my goodness, I'm going to regret this. I'm going really a bit left field here. It's not a massive price, but my case is for Diligent Harry. Lightly raced 3-year-old, the Hackwood, wasn't it, Newbury? I think raced it too freely. That was on turf, of course, on good to firm. So you might be thinking, where is Natalie's logic here?
You love a Clive Cox horse, don't you?
I didn't until that Wings of War, and then I had a really good chat with Clive Cox about a few of his, and he was just happy with a few of his horses at the moment, and this was one of them, and how they've been running, really. I think this is probably my biggest sort of I'm most nervous about this tip, because I keep thinking, why am I
It's a bit of an unknown, isn't he?
It's an unknown because it's all weather form.
They pulled him out of the Commonwealth Cup because of bad ground.
That was heavy ground.
Yeah, and this is
it was definitely softer than the good to firm description you can see when they ran in that Tab Deed race.
I like Adam Kirby on board. I like the way Clive Cox's horses are running. You've got to pick one, right?
Draw.
You've got to pick one, and that's going to be my pick, Diligent Harry.
The 3-year-old in the pack, Keith Melrose.
Yeah.
I'm Diligent Harry as well. Yeah, I'm delighted to be running behind the in-form Nat Green.
I didn't. I thought I was picking.
No, I mean, the thing with, I think his form's really good. I think on form he should, I mean, the money is coming for him now. I put him up yesterday, it was 10, 11 to 1. Great Ambassador was in the race. He's basically second favourite now.
Right.
But the soft ground was the worry. I looked right into his pedigree looking for soft ground horses. I found a few, but not that many. You have to squint a little bit to see soft ground in the pedigree, but it's an unknown rather than a negative for him, and I'm often willing to take that chance when it's ground, because I think, as I know, ground is something I think is a little bit overrated in terms of the importance people put on it. And I thought on form he had a much better chance than those odds were implying. So yeah, and I like that stand side draw as well. You probably want to be nearer that rail than in the middle of the track. Just quite a lot to like.
Well, it's quite interesting about the draw, because Glen Shield, who I think last year would have been a very short price for this, wouldn't he? But he hasn't really turned up so far this year.
Right. He's priced up on his reputation, really, isn't he?
This is the acid test for Glen Shield. I think a little bit like Hookham, as we saw in our previous race, I think this is the right horse for the right race. And it's been, apart from Dragon Symbol, been by his own standards, a fairly quiet year for Archie Watson.
How are you feeling about the jockey bookings?
Paul Mulrennan.
I was just about to say that. That's telepathy.
Archie Watson. You are in tandem.
We are.
An ensemble, I called you at the start.
Yeah.
You are proving that way. Well, listen, that's got a bit of the gold shine about her at the moment, the magic dust. So
yeah, I'm delighted to
you could definitely do it a bit. I could as well. I think Glen Shield will either win or come last. So I think I'm a bit surprised that I can see why people would place Layham in this. But like Art Power, who we will see turning up on Champions Day in a couple of weeks, which you're covering here on RP Live, he went to Ireland last weekend. You're wondering where I'm going with that, aren't you? He went to Ireland last weekend, won easily in a race that it was just much easier than what he'd been, running in.
Yeah.
This is the prep. He's 1 from 1 under Paul Mulrennan, Glen Shield, and this is his track. This is the ideal. If you'd have said to me at the start of the season, describe a race for Glen Shield, this is it. Okay, he's installed 11, isn't he? A bit of pace around him would, in 10, sorry, a bit of pace around him would be nice. The absolute,
he is the pace, isn't he?
Is he?
I thought he was.
He's a grinder, isn't he? Yeah, okay. Maybe he is on the stand side then. That's interesting, isn't it?
What did you think about jockey booking?
Well, I would say that he's obviously proved all this time for Holly Doyle, and Paul Mulrennan coming back in a little bit cold. He's probably not ridden him at home, is he? Because Archie Watson's based where he is, and I'd regard Holly Doyle as a real top notcher these days, and I don't think enough's been made of it.
Yeah.
Paul obviously has won him before, and that's why Paul's got to call up again. But it's a negative losing Holly.
I'll tell you what, his run in the Greenlands at the Curragh was actually not a bad run at all on his comeback, and the second was okay, but you would have wanted to see a little bit more of him, in the Haydock, etc.
He's basically he turned up. You can't say he's not the same horse this season because his run in the Golden Jubilee, Diamond Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee as of next year probably was as good as he's ever run. But he's just gone off a cliff since then.
The pace is on the far side potentially with Punch Bowl Flyer, who will love this ground for Eve Johnson Houghton, and that brings in a horse.
That's a good point.
That brings in a horse.
Oh, you're not going to mention King's Lynn.
No,
we've got to mention King's
how?
Lynn.
What is King's Lynn? King's Lynn is the most confusing horse I've ever had to look at this flipping season. I don't get it.
Well, it's
I don't get
Summergand I was actually going to mention.
Well, again, he's either
Talk about Rodway having a good day.
You're just piggybacking Rodway now. I'm going on green.
Right. Let me tell you, there's an image, but I'm not going to piggyback on him because every time he tips Summergand, it's a bad run. We had this crack with him yesterday, and every time he jumps off him next time, Summergand wins.
So my Summergand, I'm the same with Summergand and Mondemege. I class them very similarly. Every time I back them, they don't win. When I don't back them, they do win because they are a bit in and out.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, he was a bit of an eye catcher at Haydock though last time
but when he's good, he's flipping good.
Yeah, he's a big price again, isn't he? Let's see what David O'Mara's trying
He's
to say.
drifted out again a bit.
He's got the penalty, isn't he? Which
26 he's on the exchange.
He was
at the
14
moment.
yesterday. He was 14.
Yeah, the interesting one is Vadream. That was around
Yes.
15, 16-1. That's 7-1 on the Betfair Exchange, and they're absolutely queuing up to get on this one. If you look at the form, the best form was obviously in the Jersey Stake behind Creative Force on soft ground. Definitely got a chance here for
I mean,
Charles.
say that. That's the best figure, of course. But she's got Mother Earth form. She's got alcohol-free form. That was when she was a huge eye catcher at 50
Yes,
to
she
1.
was in that race at the Fred Darling.
She just disappointed a little bit. Was it York they expect? I remember Keels was all over this horse and she didn't quite pull it out. And is she a 6 furlong or 7 furlong horse? I suppose Ascot could really suit. Could this be the Onassis, another Charlie Feller horse?
Onassis.
Well, she loves Ascot, doesn't she? Because she's caught in between 6 and 7 furlongs, really. So she runs tomorrow in the Foray from Stall 1, I think, didn't she? Really interesting horse, that is.
Money for Lullaby Moon as well, Dave. Joseph Tuitt, that's 22. So that was around 40s earlier on. It's 22 on the Betfair Exchange right now.
For Joseph
Showing
Tuitt,
up.
of course, who took out her first race.
Big double.
So could it be a fillies double for him? She'll like the ground, says Joe. So again, another one coming back off, and he's in good form, isn't he? Rossarara on, of course, in stall 12. They're going in. Glen Shiel hardening up all the time, Mark.
Yeah, Glen Shields, so 3.65. Did hit around 3.5, around 5 to 2. Bielsa around 6.4, 11 to 2. But Diligent Harry definitely queuing up to get that one 9 to 2, 5.4. And Vadream, they're definitely the strongest ones here. Vadream and Diligent Harry.
Right,
Somebody thinks Diligent Harry will handle the ground, don't they? He's absolutely ploughed in it.
That's interesting.
If they stick,
That's really
if the
interesting.
pace is far side, King's Lynn, he's talented enough to have a say, isn't he? He's just
But what I just can't figure the horse out.
I think the sort of
He's got a big fan club.
Kingsland 101 is ignore the King stand because that was weird.
There he is, Kings. I mean, it's
Last to go in King's Lynn. Oh no, Summergan's out the back as well.
Sorry.
We're looking forward to this 3:15. Where are we going after this? Redcar's got to be coming up as well. Of course, we were going to Charlie Appleby.
yeah, because that's easy, isn't it?
Redcar 2-year-old trophy.
Talking to second, it's only
That's
a second
an
string. You'll only be talking about a second.
An easy
string, right?
race.
I don't know about that. What Addy are? Well, we shall see. Good luck wherever you're playing. Then it's the Bengoff Stakes. It's over 6 furlongs. Where are they going to go? And he pings out Glen Shiel. This is what you wanted to see. On the far side, I'm expecting, here he comes, Punch Bowl Flyer, to start leading. They're bound to split, aren't they?
Diligent Harry.
Brusala, is it, on the near side? She is quite an interesting horse for the Haggis team. Right up there early doors. Would have been fancy for the Gold Cup at Ayr. Ainsdale on the near side, keen. Diligent Harry a bit keen just off them. They are coming stand side. Pole position, Keith Melrose for Glen Shiel.
Yeah, you'd say so. That's got to be the plan. The way that Mulrennan rode him in the first 100 yards, you suggested he wanted to bounce him out, and that's what he's done. And, you know, everything's there with him, but they've definitely chosen that near side as well, partly because of Glen Shiel going on in front.
Bielsa's up there, Nat. 2 furlongs to run.
Yeah.
Are you going to get past Bielsa? 4.
Shiel's just finding it a bit
King's
tough,
Lynn, they're
isn't
all on now.
he? He's a great. Look at Ainsdale on the near side.
Vadream's
VA
tanked.
Dream.
Vadream's
King's
tanked.
Lynn on the far side.
Ainsdale right over the
Bielsa's there
top.
as well.
Ainsdale.
Mark's place laid him. What's going to happen here? Could he get the first
Ainsdale
one?
leads
he's
Lonnie.
going he's on the way back.
Bielsa's sinking. Ainsdale on the
Ainsdale's won
near
this.
side.
Ainsdale's won
Glen
it.
Shiel
Ainsdale.
gone. Kingsley on the far side trying to fill his lungs.
Vadream.
It's Vadream
Gamble
coming back
Luggage.
up. My goodness gracious
Oh.
me. Carnage with 4 of them going
Absolutely
clear.
slow.
Vadream
King's
into
Lynn.
101. It's got it. King's Lynn only second. What was that on the near side? Was that Ventura
That
Diamond?
is the slowest 6 furlong finish I've ever seen.
Well, that's a statement. Let's go to Marc Hryhorskyj to tell us, because it looked carnage to me. When did they know that the filly was going to land that pre-race gamble?
Wow.
Absolute mayhem. To be honest, they probably knew yesterday when they're taking that 14-1 on the Betfair Sportsbook. But I got absolutely smashed. It's went off 8.32 on the Betfair Sportsbook there. Interestingly, Ainsdale. That's hit 2s on and running there for decent money. It did come on the stand sign, but didn't go through with the effort. Punch Bowl Flyer, just finding out how short that one's went.
Some guest on here
money.
called Ainsdale the winner, so I don't.
2 out, Ainsdale looked good. Though.
I thought she'd won. I thought they had won.
Yeah, I would have said two furlongs.
They've got another Onassis, guys, here. They've got another 6. I don't like 6 on flat tracks. I don't like 7 on a stiff track. And here I am, 6 furlongs at Ascot, bad ground. They knew, and it was a good ride as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. Diligent Harry, dreadful.
Got to be ground, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be ground. He's pulled as well. You pull like that on soft ground.
You cannot pull it. It wasted everything at the start. So we knew that was already gone. And Kings Lynn, I've got a bit more faith back. That was a good run. Really, really solid run.
That's what Kings Lynn does to you.
It's hit 6-4 and running there, Natalie, as well.
Really?
Kings Lynn, surprisingly, £292 at 2.46.
I
Never looked at
surprised
6-4
about
chance
that.
for me.
Well done, Mark. You got Bielsa right. You didn't think he'd turn up today.
Yeah,
He hasn't.
well done.
Yeah, okay.
I bet he traded very short in that 4th place market because he was.
Yeah. I thought I was in trouble here. I thought he was going to win 2-3 out and emptied very quickly, but didn't go above 9-2 and running on the win market. I'm quite surprised at that. I thought he would have maybe hit about 2-1.
There's a line of them, wasn't there? 2 out. There's about 4 or 5 in a line, and he thought, well, I was thinking because of the bet on here, thought there's not going to 4 get past him, but he's fallen in a hole.
2s on. He went, Keith, for decent money. The 4th place market.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you got even shorter than that, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah, Ainsdale looked like he was going to win stand side again, wasn't it? He ran quite freely as well, Ainsdale. There's a big one in him down the line. But it goes to the 6-1 shot on track. VAR Dream, 7s if you were playing on the exchange.
That horse's extra stamina for the trips won the race, isn't it? Because
slowest final furlong you can remember seeing.
Well, I've obviously said that in the heat of the moment, but it's very, very slow.
I was on this show.
I know. It's
on camera.
An exceptionally slow last furlong for us.
Rationalist in him went.
It felt like a long time. I don't know. Maybe it was the excitement, but it felt.
Well,
like
we bid farewell to Ascot now. I think that is. Do we bid farewell to Ascot? Yeah, we do. Have we got one more?
No,
We've got one more.
Big handicap.
Too soon. I fancy one that in that as well. In the 350, of course, back it is. We go to Redcar. I think it's for the first time we've been to Redcar on RP Live as well. Delighted to say it will be the 2-year-old trophy coming up. But before that, we've heard from Hurricane Lane. Let's go back to the stables of Godolphin, hear from Charlie Appleby on Adiyar, the Derby winner.
Their likeness between the Adiyar and Hurricane is their constitution. 2 great horses in what they've achieved this year at the highest level. But their professionalism of how they handle it at home, they eat, sleep and exercise in both a very similar manner, both very professional exercise, but both, all like I say, they come back in, they do all the right things, they eat up well, and bar obviously the unfortunate setback there just before the ARC trials there, and again, that's the constitution that you give about this horses. A lot of other horses will take time. When you get an infection that he had, they take time to get over it. As we see here this morning, he's met every target, which I knew he had to after that setback. He's met every target, and it's just showing his wellness right the way through. Pleased with him this morning. Williams sat on him this morning, gave him his final blow, and he was very happy with him. And so, really looking forward to the weekend.
There you go then. Derby, King George, will it be the Arc as well? Not since Lamtara has anyone done successfully that route, have they?
It was only Lamtara's. He only had 4 races or something in his career, didn't he?
He seasonal debut, didn't he, famously in the Derby, of course. Adiyar, we were covering that show. It was your debut on the show, actually, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We said stall 1 never wins. And, of course, it was a late gamble on him. Someone else backed him, but forgot to tell us on this show as well.
50-1, I got
So it's been, she was part of the...
Derby.
So,
I lost my confidence because it was my debut on the show, so I just sort of lost my confidence a bit.
Can't tell them that somebody's going to win the Derby from stall 1.
About the stall 1, I thought I just can't do it, but sorry. I
went with the solid Hurricane instead. I did as well. I just thought he'd be the solid one, innit?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was.
Yeah. So what do we see him doing? Stall 11. Not fair. Again, he's confounded the draw in the Derby. So will he do it tomorrow? Stall 11. Not ideal.
Well, no, it's not. But Adam Kirby got it absolutely right in the Derby and actually ended up taking the shortest route. Buick, the way to win from a wide stall in the Arc was Exhibit A's Frankie Dettori on Golden Horn. You know, you take your time. If your horse doesn't need cover, which Adair might not.
Interesting.
Take your time coming
Wide
across.
route.
Take your time. Because it's basic trigonometry, lads. I can't believe I've just said that.
Trigonometry. I haven't heard that
with the
word
quiz
since I was
master.
about.
Is that the first time trigonometry has been said?
You know, take
It's a horse, of course, but
take that, basically make that trip across and take as long
name
doing it
for a
as you
horse?
can. It is a horse, it's called.
just got a little insight into what he does before he starts his articles on a Friday. He's
love
like,
it.
trigonometry. He's like,
Go for a walk and I think about trigonometry. No, I can't. I'm not that bad.
he's not really like that, guys.
But yeah, it's so I would just take. It depends how much Buick thinks he needs cover. I would, take your time coming across. If he doesn't think he needs all that cover, he can do that and then take it from there.
I don't think he does. Need the Adair
He's not fizzy, is he? He's not a fizzy horse.
He's not fizzy, and I don't know how to. I need someone to help me with the adjectives, but he is very happy, lolloping along. He's not a lollopy horse, but I mean he's very happy, just in his rhythm, galloping along, and he just he's not a fizzy horse. He's quite comfortable.
He's
in his
actually
own
of the
skin.
market leaders. He's the one I'm against when he went favourite. We said, I remember when Snowfall won the Irish Oaks and she went short for this, and then the Yorkshire Oaks as well. We said to Barry, what about that 9-2 Adair? Now he couldn't know certain things were going to happen and stuff like that, but Barry said, I'm not sure about that 9-2. And he obviously went nearly 9-4 last week, didn't he? Because Snowfall's since flopped, of course, lots going to happen. And in the market, you can't predict it like that. But I was wondering whether anyone was going to be on him at 9-2. At 9-2, I'd be looking at him thinking, but around about 11-4-ish.
If I was a bookmaker pricing this race up and doing a tissue, Adair's my favourite, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he needs to,
there are a lot of people like him out there. Ross Briley likes him. Dan Walsh in the gallery.
He finds everything quite easy, doesn't he?
Could we be looking at a
Finds
gift
everything
horse a
quite
little bit in
easy.
the mouth here? He's the one that I'm just prepared to win, but the prices I can't be with him from that.
There's a bit of that in him. I agree
I'm not
with
sure
that.
about him on the ground either. What about Alan Carr? There's a bit of wise guy money for this, isn't there?
Well, you can count me among the wise guys in that case because he is of the big. You gas for a big rag that you fancy of them in the Arc that you'll fancy will run well, and he's the one for me. He needs to ride him more positively than he did in the Grand Prix de Paris, but if he does, he's strong 8, so he's not in a bad spot. Get him buried in the sort of front half of the pack, make your move. I think you could finish 3rd or 4th.
William Haggis winning an Arc. Yes, of course. I think there will be a lot of love from there. And Snowfall, we heard that Mark likes that. Adair still favourite on the sportsbook, just Marc Hryhorskyj. We've not even mentioned Tanawa.
Yeah, around 5-2 on the sports with they can't really separate them around. They get about 11-4 Adair as well. Snowfall 5-1, Hurricane Lane 7-2. That was backed in from 60s recently as well, Hurricane Lane. But again, as I said earlier, it's a top race. And the one you mentioned as well, Alan Carr for William Haggis, that was 25-1. It's around 16-1 now on the sportsbook. Looks like a top race. I can't split the top 4.
Okay, can't split the top 4. Is it like that out for you? Chronogenesis, Rob White having an insufferably good weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad he's not here actually today.
Yeah, you've got to deal with him later. I had to deal with him yesterday. Let me tell you, he was right about a lot of things. Happens every now and then. Okay, let's hear your ARC winners out there. I know that you've been asked in the chat for it as well. Wherever you are, let us know your ARC. If it's 1, 2, 3, whatever, we'll build them up. We'll try and get them up before the end of the show. I want to hear what wins the ARC. It will be done by this time tomorrow. Of course, you've still got 2 Group 1s after that, haven't you? Joan of Arc, by the way, in the Opera tomorrow. That's the one. Of all the horses talking to Aidan about this week, that's the one I just came out of it going, I think he thinks that's going to win.
Right.
Joan of Arc ran in the Vermeil, didn't stay last time and forget the run, basically, the French Oaks winner. That would be my tip of talking to O'Brien yesterday. And of course, we've got the Foray as well at 5 o'clock. We've got the Abbey as well, the sprint. What a day, what a day. We've got to go back to the Abbey. I imagine that's your least favourite race.
No, I think it's great. What I like to do in the Abbey, I like to, because every year you see a horse in the Abbey, it finishes maybe 3rd or 4th at 1,000,000 to 1, and you go, how on earth is that finished close up in a Group 1? And I like to look for that horse every year, so I had a good look at the Abbey to try and find that horse.
Yours, all right, you can get that off you later, I'm imagining.
I don't fancy it that strongly, but I thought here's a 40-1 shot that might run well, and that's about as strong as it got.
Well, it is that sort of race. We've got to go to Redcar, though, I'm delighted to say. Because it is a 2-year-old trophy up there. Won by some really good horses over the years, but it is often a mixed bag. And I seem to remember last year it was run on terrible ground. I backed a horse in it that looked good for about a furlong and then flopped. And that's why I'm looking at this race going, ugh. You've got a theory about the draw, but we'll get to Keith in a minute after Marc Hryhorskyj gives us the market update and his Betfair tip.
Vintage Claret's top of the bang here, 4.4, 4.5 around 7 to 2. This is the one I actually like here. I think this is an excellent back to lay. I think the way this race is going to unfold, there's unlikely to be any let up and a very strong pace throughout. I think this will play right into the hands of Vintage Claret's here. I've gone with this one for Richard Fahey. Traded short on the BSP on the last 5 runs. Conditions to suit. I think it's well into the weights. The run behind Berkshire Shadow and the Coventry Stakes, solid form, finishing 3rd. Likewise, the run at York and the Gimcrack Stakes. This is a similar look to Fearby's race that we covered earlier at Newmarket, and some of them have form linked in with that. I don't think Fearby's Disgrace just ran into one there on Marco Botti's. I actually think there's quite a lot of deadwood in this race. Vintage Clarets will be staying on strong at the finish, so expecting a big run and hopefully a green book, right? So, Keith, how we'll play this, we'll have a £50 bet on it, 4.5. On the nose. And then we'll try and get rid of this 2.32. We'll do a £100 stake at 2.32, so we can try and make around £50 profit either way if we can get matched. I think the race is going to work out nicely. A strong pace early, Vintage Claret staying on strongly. That's what I think is going to happen here.
Okay, thank you very much, Marc Hryhorskyj. Should we go to you, Nat Green, then?
Yeah, but I'm in agreement with Mark in this, and I think the only thing we need to be careful with this is I used to work at Redcar when I did the Go Racing. Well, when I first met Keith. You often look to a Fahey horse in this 2-year-old trophy race at Redcar. That's just obviously because he's won it 2017, 2019, and Paul Hannigan, who is a prolific northern jockey. So I am really keen on Vintage Clarets. Didn't quite get my brain together and think it'd be it's a little bit short in the market. So you could look a bit. I also did tentatively look at Mojo Maker for Dave Loughnane, who has been so consistent. There's a lot to like about Mojo Maker. I'm really worried. One of my other little tips was Anadora, which has a huge price now, so obviously for a reason. She's got to be back on song, isn't she? But I wasn't too disappointed with the latest Musselburgh run, to be fair, for Anadora. Yeah. For Kevin Ryan. So I did have a quick look at that. If I was going to put on an each way, I'd go with Anadora just for a bit of fun, but Vintage Claret looks the winner to me, and I would, if I was there, I'd love to be looking at Mojo Maker in the flesh.
Vintage Claret's 3rd in the Coventry, of course, and it comes back to that form. They're all going to have him to catch, I imagine, but he's drawn into Saw 13. You don't think that's the place to be, do you?
No, I think generally speaking at Redcar, they often go on that far side, don't they? I mean, it is a track where it can flip. They can be, if they decide it's one side one day, they can just do whatever they like.
Correct. That's how I see it.
But I would say the sort of percentage call is far side, and that means low numbers. So I'd be sort of very slightly wary of horses that are coming out of very
Vintage Clarets, etc.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, what wins the race then, Keith?
I didn't have a massively strong view on this one, to be honest, but I did know Last Crusader was the one that ticked most boxes for me. I liked the form from the Gimcrack. He showed a lot of pace there, and only got run out of it relatively late on. Got the impression he was fancied early on in the season. And then last time he went to France and just bombed, but you can always forgive a horse just going to France and bombing. You don't know what you're coming up against.
He's likely to be up there, isn't he, I think?
He is, and he's drawn in 3. He just covered a lot of the ground I wanted to see without him being a massive fancy.
Okay, all right, let's get some social interaction. The commander comes back on. An abbreviation. It must be very difficult for the gallery to constantly spell your name. Mojo Maker brings in one of the Hookham doubles for me. Ooh, okay, we've got a double coming up. Mojo Maker, then Nat Green says consistency. We'll see him there or thereabouts. And he has got some form in some strong races. I'm with Keith as well. I think on the far side, hopefully, will be the place to be. And I thought I found one at a price here for Tom Dascombe. Again, with the 2-year-olds, and it's Mott and the Messer, who no good last time whatsoever, but we'll put a line through that. It was in decent form, wasn't it? Remind me exactly where it was. 11th of 11, I'm afraid, but that was in the Flotus race, of course, the Ripon 2-year-old trophy. Any horse that doesn't go at Ripon, happy to, of all the tracks in the country, agree. I'm happy to put a line through it.
The undulating roller coaster.
Yeah, you can, yeah. I think that's become so embaked as received wisdom that I like to take it on sometimes because it's a good angle, generally speaking,
and especially in that 2-year-old trophy. It was 11-1, but the time before that at Chester, stop the press. Dascombe, a 2-year-old, wins at Chester. Beat a horse called Maglev.
Did that get him off the cold list or something?
It might well have done.
Wasn't he having a bad run
Kingscote was on.
Yeah. Very.
Maglev has since gone and danced some big dances and run with great credit, and it was getting a bit of weight. £2 off him that day. But Maglev, the horse, if he comes back to Chester form, then you're looking at a horse that finished just 2 lengths off Wings of War last time. It's that sort of form.
Yeah.
And from stall 1, I'm with Keith. I think you want to be one side or the other. I think you don't want to be caught in no man's land at Redcar if you like.
I just think Mott the Mester's had a pretty, debut at Haydock on soft, not easy. Then Ripon, not easy, even though won.
Should point out, Dave, that he's won that race at Ripon by 5.5 lengths, so excusing the bad run at Ripon looks a little bit shakier.
Because he did win at Ripon, yeah.
Well, yes, true, but he was never travelling last time, was it? He got a
Boondoggle.
knock and all that sort of stuff. So I know he's got Ripon form, but a bad run at Ripon. So, all right, let me put it to you. If a horse wins at York and then runs a bad race at York, should I be totally ignoring the fact? Should I be going, well, he's won there already? It's not, it's not.
You wouldn't be saying I can forgive a bad run at York so readily. It wouldn't be an easy thing to say.
Correct. So I've got Ripon down for that as well. So, yeah, I'm not suggesting he didn't go on the undulations. He was never travelling. It looked messy race. He got a knock, Joffkey said afterwards as well. But he is a big price on the Maglev form. I'm not expecting him to win, but I think he'll go. I just don't like this race. I think it's a bit of a nightmare.
Is this I don't... All the times I've worked in Yorkshire, this used to be such a highlight. This is not a good renewal.
Namato running this. He won it.
He won it on the bridle.
Under Graham Lee, I remember that.
This is not
On
a
the
good
far
renewal.
rails.
Yeah.
This is not a good renewal. I think they
It never looks a good renewal. It never does look
No,
a
but
good
this
one.
is for me, this is the worst then in the last 8 years.
It's hard to remember
For me,
some of
this
the
is the
last
last.
winners. Lullaby Moon, who of course we just saw at Ascot. Summer Sands the time
We get
before
a lot of
that.
entries at this. I'm
Yeah, Lamato stands out like a sore thumb in the roll call, doesn't he? Bogart's in
I
there.
remember, didn't he beat Le Bon like he couldn't get beat in this race one year?
He was
He was drawing the wrong
favourite.
side.
He beat a horse called Matmu, Lamato, didn't he? Of course, who was
He was a good horse, yeah.
Good horse he used to beat. Yeah. All right. Okay. So they're milling around at the start. They're going to take a bit of time to get off here, aren't they? We have got some socials built up for the ARC winners. Keep them coming in, guys. What wins the ARC?
This
2
Euro Trophy at Redcar, what it tends to be in character to me is, you know those sales races? We had that one at Newmarket earlier, the big 30 runner race. It's like one of those, but listed and without those sales conditions, because there's a lot of horses that do just have a go. They go, Redcar's 2 Euro Trophy, that's the one I can just have a bit of a chance my arm at. So there's a little bit, you do find quite a lot of deadwood in it quite a lot of the time. So it can be a little bit like that as well in this race.
All right, okay. All right, we're warming up. It's not an easy task. And unlike some of the Newmarket races today, which you can tell I've got a bit of a beef about these race times at the moment, especially seeing we've moved things in Britain to 3:27 and 3:01.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a bit irrelevant if they can't get them off anywhere near the
3:23.
race times.
Well, that's it. And Newmarket,
It's not like a business then, is it?
Newmarket and Newbury are the two sort of worst for it, aren't they?
Seem to be. And,
yeah, we're behind again. With
Julie
this.
Harrington, head of the BHA, comes out and says it takes a long time to get down to the start. Well, come on.
Well, as I pointed out earlier, Newmarket Rolling Mile has been the same for 400 years. You'd have thought you'd have had to figure out something by
Get
now.
them out earlier. There's a process, isn't there? I don't know.
There is a process.
It
Yeah.
just seems to have deteriorated recently. We've also seen races run at the same time. We've not really delved into the fact that it was a split screen for the on RTV for the Sun Chariot. It's the Group 1 race of the day. Come on. Should
exactly.
Redcar have waited?
Yeah, of course.
Put it on.
Redcar then
They're
had to
get away with it.
Then Redcar to get ready for this race and have gone off late anyway.
They are already late, yeah.
However many 2-year-olds running.
Well, exactly. So that's why Redcar wouldn't have waited, probably. So wait for this Redcar, they've gone, what? We've got the 2 Euro Trophy in half an hour. What are you talking about?
I'll just say it's unsatisfactory, though.
Yeah, of course it is.
All right. What about Chipotle?
Not going to get any better next year, is it, when
Yeah,
they have
it's
more
not.
Saturdays?
No, it's not.
Oh, don't even get me on that topic.
it's not.
18, I'm not happy about. I think oh my goodness, the staff and the ethic and the work morale.
Yeah, if you've been under a rock for
can't
some
even-
reason in the last month or two, there's more racing next
Can't
year
even get
on the
into that.
fixture list. All right, okay. Enjoy wherever you play then. You've heard from the team. Who's it going to be in the trophy? And they are off and running. And Mott on the Messer just missed it slightly on the near side. He's caught up a little bit, looking for...
They're all coming far side.
Yes, they are. It's the low draws then to the 4. How will Vintage Claret?
they've now decided
They're
against
here.
it.
All right, so it is Keith Melrose's pick, Last Crusader, pulling his way to the front on the far side. Mott and the Messer trying to
on
get
that
the pace.
reel.
Mojo Maker up there as well. Looking down, May Blossom. David O'Mara got a bit of the say. What's this in the blue? Roman Dragon. Another Tom Dascombe horse is up there as well. Looking for the 5, bit sweaty with his old rival Chipotle right in midfield. Keith, call it, my friend.
Well, I hope the rail's a place to be. He's travelling as well as anything, isn't he, this Last Crusader?
Oh,
Is
could this
anything
be
gonna-
Melrose's time?
We've got in the centre of the track. You've got
gone, isn't it?
Mojo Maker. Mojo Maker's staying on.
Mojo Maker or
Get on the rail. Get him onto the rail.
Could this be the Windsor Castle winner? Chipotle winner? No, he's going to really low. Who's got it? Chipotle's going to gum him. Oh, Keith!
Come on!
Is he going to fight him off? It's wow!
What's this going from absolutely nowhere?
Chipotle's got it. Oh, Keith, that was a great shout, man.
Symphony Perfect.
Symphony Perfect is third. The perennial eye catcher that is Symphony Perfect. But Chipotle, oh, he is such a popular horse. When he ran in the Nunthorpe, the ground stayed in his favour, would you believe it, in October. Tiny Chipotle, but he has sizzled today. And he's come from off the pace and he's beaten Last Crusade, who looked like he had it.
Of all the horses to do it, Chipotle annoys me because he comes through and you think, right, Chipotle's coming. Is he going to get home? Is this little early 2-year-old?
Oh, you were going to say something else there.
Yeah, I was going to say something else. Is this little thing going to come in?
Chipotle.
It is Chipotle. We've done this tomato thing, isn't it?
It's not tomato, it's Chipotle.
It's a chili. We know that in Santiago.
You know what? On the other hand, I've slagged them off there, but I've cooled down a bit now, and it's nice to see the Brocklesby winner still doing it at the end of the season.
If anywhere, even Keith Melrose, the insufferable rationalist as he called himself, can get flustered, it's on RP Live.
Last Crusader was a good shout.
Yeah. How low did it go, Mark? Last Crusader.
It's went as low as 1.42 for £1,200, just around the 2 to 5 mark. I actually thought it probably would have went shorter there, but Chipotle's came from the clouds, 9.8, and Sympathy Perfect for Richard Hannon. That one was flying home as well into third. That one's went quite short on running as well. Let's get that one for you as well.
And Mojo make exactly what we said, ever so consistent, getting fourth. It's nice.
You'd like to think he might be a sprint handicapper for next year.
Yeah.
Knowing Dave Lowe, the owner, and the catchy colours, he might go to your winner, mightn't he? And because he loves that as well.
That was a pleasing run.
Great to have Redcar then, and the Queen once again has risen because Chipotle. I know people that absolutely love that horse from the start of the season. I wonder if they kept the faith there. Well done, Eve Johnson-Holton. We must move on. It will be, of course, Ascot coming up next, but let's get some social interaction. I asked for ARC tips. We know that Hurricane Lane is the love here. Snowfall for Marc Hryhorskyj from Betfair. He thinks Chris Timms also with us. Hurricane Lane in the ARC to break the St Ledger stat. Love it, Chris. Absolutely. Beautiful horse, isn't he? Frizzy Red says, now, I'm glad someone's given some weight for Tanawa because after the St Mark's Basilica run, it looks like she was going to go off clear favourite. She won't mind what the weather does. She went to, of course, the meeting last year and she won the Opera. She's, of course, a Breeders' Cup winner since as well. She is very, very hard to knock, Keith, isn't she? She's got low draw. Oh, you're grimacing a little bit.
Yeah, hard to knock. I mean, yeah, she's very hard to knock as a horse.
Yes.
She's a lovely, likeable horse. But I reckon, impishly, that it's partly because she's so likeable. Nobody's had the heart to tell her that she's got no right to be joint favourite for an ARC.
Apart from the betting editor of the Racing Post, it says.
It's just, I mean, it's a lovely horse, and she's got up against a bunch of 3-year-olds here, right? And normally you think these 3-year-olds, they're progressing. Tarnawa's 5, blah blah. Tarnawa's got to improve to catch those 3-year-olds on ratings. She has not performed to the level of Adiyar or Hurricane, even allowing for the weight she gets, or doesn't get actually, but the sex allowance. She's got to perform to, she's got to improve to Adiyar, to Hurricane Lane, and to Snowfall. Why is she joint favourite? I mean, she should be about.
Do you think she'll drift then?
I think I think she should. She's by right. She's a sort of.
Hasn't Paul Keeley gone to Paris to back her?
In her company, isn't it? In this year's ARC, which is fantastic. It's a tall
She might have beat Sotsas last year. She might have beat Sotsas last year, but she doesn't have to beat Sotsas this year. She has to beat
Hurricane
Lane.
Was she unlucky not to beat St Mark's Basilica?
No.
You didn't think so? She was always held. Yeah. My worry about her is that she might have had a harder race there than they initially figured for. I know that might sound silly in an Irish Champion Stakes, but she had to really dig deep, didn't she?
No,
and they were a bit worried about her coming across to that, what they thought was a quicker strip of ground, and whether she was going to be a bit, lame as a duck afterwards. Thankfully, she wasn't. All right, interesting.
No, you've made a good point there.
Frizzy Red says, when Dermot Weld has a strong contender, usually a good thing. And the final one that we're going to get from Mark McGann, Snowfall will bury these tomorrow. Can we talk about Snowfall in the Prix du Cadran? There's a bit of a storm brewing, isn't there? Not just on the track.
It's good.
You know where? Yeah, love it. You know where I'm going with this as well, don't you? Holly Doyle versus Frankie Dettori. What's this about? Where's this come from? I mean, Frankie Dettori, can we say the senior jockey at riding at the minute? Is he the senior
father of the house?
Yeah, absolutely. the Lindsay Hoyle, the speaker of the jockeys' room.
Part of the
You know,
hoops.
he said after Snowfall got beaten and got a lot of criticism, like he did with Stradivarius in the Gold Cup, he didn't like that up in Frankie at all, and you can understand it. He rode Snowfall to devastating success in our Oaks. She was a bit keen last time off a muddling pace. He said Holly probably didn't go quick enough. Okay, now Holly Doyle is suspended this week. She does a column. I think it's at the races, isn't it? And in that column, which has caused a lot of, I'm not going to say controversy, it has got tongues wagging. It's a massive bonus, I believe. She says that Ryan Moore is back aboard Snowfall. Woo! There is a storm a brewing.
It's just a nice.
She's got her dig back in. I mean,
It's a dig, yeah.
The Tory, you know, because he is a senior figure, because he is the face of racing to so many people. I think he needs to watch what he says in public about other jockeys coming up.
Well, look, listen. This is something that you've got the weighing, what stays in the weighing room and all that sort of stuff, haven't you? They're in different weighing rooms, I suppose. But I was a little bit surprised that Frankie said it. He could have said the pace didn't suit me.
Well,
or something.
exactly. It's easy enough to say that, and not. I mean, they're quick enough when somebody from outside the weighing room points the faintest, the mildest of criticism in their direction. So
Which I've got a feeling you might have done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Guilty.
everybody
That's human
who's working in our line of work hasn't had that.
Human nature.
All right, so
But-
Holly
so
and Frankie.
But I don't think it'll rumble on because I think Holly's probably too professional to let it. She got her 1-all.
dig back.
She
Yeah.
got her 1-all, and
They're
that's it.
finished.
We have to say this is all in print as well,
Finished.
so then we'll be interested to see what they come out. But my word on it would be, it's quite nice to see. Sometimes we think they're all being a bit nice to each other, and it's all a bit under, it's all a bit.
I've got an alternative
not?
on that one. We've got with the art this year. I think the art build-up's been better this year than it normally would have been for the fact that there's no John Gosden horse in it and there's no Aidan O'Brien colt. Because if you get an Aidan O'Brien colt, you get a sales pitch about how good it's going to be at stud.
Are we going on to St Mark's Pacific?
And we're not going to, maybe later, but not just now. And then with Gosden thinks he's Don King with every horse race, doesn't he? Everything's got to be bigged up as a big thing. And whereas Charlie Appleby's far more. Charlie Appleby's
he's
far.
very
He lets the
very
horses
serene, isn't he, Charlie? Just
And his boss is literally an Emirati ruler, so he can't come out and say too much outlandish anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I like the fact that the horses have done, the form's done the talking.
Not the...
We've all been talking about the form and not the humans leading up to this year's arc, which has helped it even more.
Okay, great stuff. There you go. This is the debate you get here on RP Live, like fly on the wall stuff. We talk about this in the offices. We talk about it, at the Racing Post. You get the inside information. It's something brewing there. Interesting. Or is it just like, yeah, let's have it. Come on. It doesn't matter. We're all professionals. Let's say it how we feel. Let's see whether that one is nipped in the bud or not. But thank you for your art selections. Good luck tomorrow in the biggie. Enjoy it. We've got 2 more races coming your way. Or is this the last race?
This is the last.
I'm having a shocker today, aren't I?
No, hold on.
This is the last race.
I thought we were
3:30,
Redcar still.
3:50
God.
We've got 16 runners in a minute and a half, lads, so crack on.
Well, I can see them, talking about race times, guys, I can see them slowly going down at Ascot. So Marc Hryhorskyj, there's been a right gamble in this race. His name is Aldari. He's a course winner for William Haggis.
Yeah, I just want to have my say on the Holly Doyle debate there. If you actually go back to the Yorks run, she was on La Gioconda there, and I think she probably gave that the ride of the season at 150 to 1 to get placed in front of the likes Wonderful Tonight. Same ride last time out. I just think Frankie was too far back, so definitely in the Holly Doyle camp here. But yeah, there's actually been a few market movers in this 350 race. River Nymph, this was 16 to 1 yesterday, it's 5 to 1 now. Tomfrey, 20s into 8s. And just looking at the one you were referring to, Aldari, it's been a bit of a major gamble here. It's just under 7 to 2 now, 4.4. But how we're going to play this on my end, I'm quite keen on Tomfrey. I was hoping for a bigger price. It's currently 10.5 around 10 to 1 on the Betfair Exchange right now. Showing all his best form, soft ground. Dropped a £1 from the handicapper for the last run. And listed company ran well for a long way. When leading, just weakened the last 75 yards. That was off 92 day break. Should be much sharper today. Get the soft ground. Traded shorter in the BSP on the last 4 runs. Ralph Beckett yards hitting a bit of form as well. Be disappointed if this one's out the 4 here. So what we'll do is we'll play a win. 25 on the win. And we'll see what price she is in the 3 and the 4.
Tomfrey.
Yeah, Tomfrey. Yeah, we'll
25 win.
Lovely, thank you. We'll play her in the. I'm expecting a massive run here. We'll play her in the 3 place market around 3.25.
Okay, another 25?
Yeah.
Righto.
Okay, thank
Lovely.
you, Keith
Cheers.
Melrose. Trade on Tomfrey. Interesting because it's Kingscote and Beckett, loves the ground, but also might get a bit of a freebie up front potentially from a middle draw. We'll see. Okay, Keith, who's going to take out the finale?
I'm bookending the cards with enormous drifters, unfortunately, because I said yesterday that Udalali was a mad price at 16-1 and now 33s.
Listen, talking about ground, it couldn't have been any worse at Goodwood when he won.
It was awful ground at Goodwood, and he was arguably in the right part of the track there down the middle. But he's in the right part of the track here. He's drawn 15. A lot of it's happened, maybe not on the rail, but on the stand side. So yeah, and he's an improving horse. You take out that run at Chester where he was drawn widest at Chester in a listed race, and he's actually a really progressive horse. He's got a second to Roscollin. He then won next time, had that Chester run, and has won a race at the glorious Goodwood meeting. You know, it's a strong handicap. He's only gone up £2. He's turned up at Ascot under similar sort of conditions, and I didn't see why he was that sort of price.
Carver on taking 3 off.
Betfair right now, 50-1 right now.
I know, because I backed him. I backed him again.
You know what the rule is. I like one at a price here in this race as well. But Nat Green, are you looking towards the head of the market or?
11:30 on Thursday, when I was absolutely making my notes in case for Aldari was not this price. So obviously the gamble, but that is my pick. I'm certainly not going to jump ship now. Respectable efforts on fast ground in the summer, so the slower ground's a huge positive for me. I'm just, I thought I was going to give you a reasonable price, and that's blown that, hasn't it?
He looked so good, didn't he, when he won on his return?
That's blown that. I thought that was going to be a cracker. I didn't realise it. And I thought I can see the appeal for fresh as well. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Just all about the trip on the ground, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I like Al Rafar. You'll remember, viewers, that at Barry Orr put this up as an anti-post pick for the Cambridgeshire. He's a buzzy horse. I didn't quite get it. But a Sandown run last time, when he came through the pack after a runaway lead, I was really taken by it. I'm actually quite keen on him. Really, really keen on him indeed. All right, they are nicely going in now.
Think about Aldari, obviously, they're talking about early season form on softer ground, and he's coming back to that now. Now, that's only based on 2 runs, so I thought, let's have a little bit more look at it. And you pick up things when the people that you know when you work in racing. And a really good punter that I know, one of his things was always what the dam did in terms of ground.
Yep.
And Aldari's out of a horse called Broughton's Revival, who you might remember. It's quite a good horse.
Yes,
wasn't she?
yeah.
And she did all her best stuff on soft ground as well.
And we should never underestimate a quality dam, because I'm not going off on a tangent, but there has been some evidence in sports horses in general, they can actually take up to 70 to 80% from their dam.
Is that right?
Yes. In show jumping and eventing, whatever, but it still happens with a thoroughbred.
Not just here for the crack.
No.
All right, good stuff. All right, so look at the dam. No, I tend to do that anyway, I think.
The dam.
Anyway.
A good dam is important.
So the good dam. All right, so Fresh has been really well backed, I think. Aldari drifted out a little bit. Stall 2. See how he gets on there.
Yes, I wouldn't have said it was necessarily the place to be on where we've seen. Although it's not a death sentence as we've seen. I mean, King's Lynn ran well from a very sort of low draw in the Glengoff.
River Nymph, of course, took out the Victoria Cup, I think.
Yeah, there's been plenty of tips around for River Nymph, hasn't there?
He's got everything in his favour today. He was very much the sort of paper favourite, wasn't he? Because he has won the Victoria Cup. He had 7 furlongs soft ground at Ascot. Is just what he wants. If Raising Sand's getting a bit old, long in the tooth these days, River Nymph's the natural successor.
It's a valuable old cup, this, isn't it? It's 64
It's a bit late
grand
money
to the
for
winner.
Accidental Agent here. That one's clipped in a few points there. Accidental Angel, the old boy. Expecting a big run
Cheers,
there.
Mark. Previous winner of the race, bidding to give Eve Johnson-Houghton a quick double. Right then, away we go. And it is the Challenge Cup then. Who'll be going to the Balmoral in 2 weeks' time. The winner of this, I would imagine. And Udalali, a whopping price for Keith Melrose, taking them along on the stand side. Aldari, thankfully, getting a lead from one of the other front runners in the race. On the far side, that's symbolised. Tomfrey leading them down the middle. He's a bit fresh, isn't he?
Got 3 groups in this.
Aldari, he's running a bit free. He is running a bit free, but doesn't put me off too much. He's tucked in.
And I'll tell you, one of the keenest horses you'll ever see in training is Al Rafar. And he is doing what he does. He's keen.
Yeah,
but he's
pulling.
getting a nice lead on the stand side. Who's this down the middle as well? Is this Uzo? Mum's Tipple, of course, in this race.
Fresh is running all right.
He's right up there, isn't he? Tomfrey leading him as well. Kazar's up there. Accidental Agent, the old Group 1 winner. Look at Escobar as well, doing what he does with River Nymph. On the far side, we have got Aldari cruising, but will he get a lead for long enough? This is the question. Udalali now falling in a hole. Al Rafar coming with this challenge. Was he
Aldari
too keen early? Who's the Shively Park horse? Fundamental with Gosden on the near side. Ascension, it's near side, guys, isn't it?
Tom Free's in front, isn't he?
Look at, I don't know, is Tom Free from front?
No, it's
down
far
the middle?
side, far side.
What's going really short?
Aldari, come
Aldari's going to get it on the far side.
Come on,
There's the
Aldari.
101. Natalie Green. She
Come on,
arrived with 2
Aldari.
duck eggs next to her name. She's got it. Far side's got it. Only 3 went there. You can hear her making the hoof sound. Gamble, Andy for Jim Crowley, William Aggies. A double on the card for him. And, of course, a late shake hand
What
out.
a relief,
Albert
I'm going to
too.
be invited back. I'm going
Fav wins last. Keith Melrose will go to pick up the bones out of that. Mark, when did they know it was on the far side?
I think we knew before the race when Natalie picked this one, the form she's been in. But yeah, 101 very early on. I think it was all over 2 out. I think he definitely wanted to be on that far side. I think my selection, Tom Free, ran a decent race. Was no good for the favourite. I mean, that one's went as short, not much shorter than the BSB, about 8.4. Keith's selection run quite well, but Aldari definitely gamble landed there for William Haggis and Jim Crowley.
And there was daylight between the far side.
Yeah, it was like the was it the Hunt Cup where that happened as well?
Real world.
But that was real world. But you know, it's they've been ignoring the far side all day, and it turns out it was a place to be.
He looked like he was a Jersey horse, didn't he, when he won on his comeback, and they were umming and ahhing whether to go down that route with him. He ended up running in the Buckingham Palace, I think, didn't he, on the ground that was awful for him.
Yeah, they got really strung out in that race. He finished about 5th, but yeah, they got massively strung out, and I think today part of it is as much, you know, it'll look better than it is because that far group of 3.
Yeah.
They had 10 lengths.
If you're William Aggies, you're giving some of the winnings to Andrew Balding, aren't you? Because Symbolise gave him that lead and enabled it basically. Right, that brings us to a conclusion then here on Racing Post Live. You came in fearing that it would be a hat trick of duck eggs. It just shows you can't keep a good woman down, can you? Natalie Green, and I saw you texting someone to say, thank God for that.
I'm fiercely competitive, and the last 2 times I have felt really, I've been on the
We've
train
given you some
journey,
stick
and
for it,
I
but-
felt really down, but I'm just pleased to be back.
Well, it's been...
Because I had some sleep. I told you last week, it's not good. If I don't sleep, I'm like an absolute bear.
All right, well, people will now be relishing your return, which can't be too far off, can it, I imagine? You're coming back to join us soon?
Yeah, I can't remember.
All right, okay.
I don't know. I don't think we've done the rota yet.
Yeah, all right. I think, well, who knows? All
Oh, no,
right,
I
Nat
am.
will be back, I can tell you that
Sometime.
much. Yeah, you're on
Couple of
ITV
weeks.
as well as coming up as well, aren't you? So look out for Natalie. Keith, we're going to see plenty of you coming up to the Jumpers Man, but you've enjoyed today. Plenty of the flat seas to go up tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be really good, isn't it? We've not got your 1, 2, 3, Dave.
Hurricane Lane beats Snowfall and Chronogenesis.
Okay.
All right, there you go. It's my 1, 2, 3. All right, on the spot
Hurricane,
there as
as
well.
they are, chronogenesis for me.
Keith.
Hurricane, ADR, Alan Kerr.
Alan Kerr as well. Marc Hryhorskyj, 1, 2, 3, and thanks for joining us back pre-arc.
So yeah, we'll go for the art. We'll go Snowfall first, and then we'll go ADR, and then we'll go Chronogenesis for 3rd place. But top race. Yeah, always a pleasure to represent the Betfair brand. Who come the highlight for me? Mightily impressive. Saffron Beach done it well, but yeah, absolutely buzzing for the art tomorrow.
Thank you, Marc
Thanks,
Hryhorskyj.
Mark.
We'll be
Good
seeing
to
Mark
see
back
you.
soon, the drone pilot for us then. Yeah, great to have our sponsors, Bet Exchange along the way. There's no sportsbook action today, but there will be plenty. You can get involved with those guys, of course. Look out for the value tomorrow on Art Day. I've been Dave Orton then. Of course, next week we will be back. It's Dewhurst, and then 2 weeks' time, it's Champions Day. And as I said, the Jumpers will be coming out to play. Join us next week. Enjoy the sport.